just chasing gold. This game's ours, it's ours to hold. One shot left, one play to run. Make it count under the setting sun. It's game time grind. All or nothing on the line. Push through the pain. Leave it all in the rain. It's game time grind. Victory's ours to find. Victory's ours to find. It's game time grind. Victory's ours to find. Victory's ours to find. Victory's ours to find.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to a brand new episode of the Game Time Grind. I'm your host, Ali the Persian. It's a wonderful Tuesday night. Everybody hit the like button. I got my boy Steve and Mystic up here. How you doing, gentlemen? How is everything?
You know, I'm doing great tonight, Ollie. You know, it's one of those special appearances, as they say. You know, I'm here for the fun week of the draft. How are you?
Oh, I'm great, man. It must be a special night. We got Mystic on video, which is hardly ever. So you know it's a good night. How's Steve doing? How you doing, Steve?
Steve is doing great. Since everybody else is on, I guess I will join the club.
Holy shit, Steve!
That's right. We got the panel tonight. Oh,
We got Steve on camera. I love the background as well, Steve. I know that is the proposed stadium for University of South Florida. So I cannot wait to see that. I like your hat too. I'm the only one. I'm wearing college gear. Where's my dolphin hat? I put my hat on. But yeah, man. So it is going to be a special night here on the Game Time Ground. We're going to be talking about the draft. It is our one and only official 4th and 10U mock draft, first round mock draft. We're doing first round. This came with massive deliberation. I mean, we sat here a span of, I know originally when me and Steve did it, we went, it took like an hour or 2 hours, maybe actually more than that. And then Mystic was able to join and we had to redo it. So it's been done a couple times. But this is what we've come up with. So we'll be debuting that tonight too. So that's some good stuff. I also have, if you watched the last episode, we had Magic Mike's cards on here. I got the Magic Pack. You guys can see that. I'll have to take my camera background off to show. But I plan on splitting that. This pack goes to these two gentlemen here. I'm going to split up the cards and see who ends up with what. I think it's going to be interesting. And also, if you didn't know, check us out on Thursday. We're going to be live this entire, except for tomorrow. We're going to be live Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. I will be here. I don't know about all of Mystic and Steve. They will be here as long as they can. But we have 1, 2, and 3 Magic Packs that we are going to raffle off. Some lucky giveaway is going to get a giveaway. So I cannot wait for that. All right, gentlemen. So how was your guys' weekend? How was everything?
going well. You know, kids do kid stuff, right? You clean up about an hour later, your house is destroyed again. You know, rinse and repeat, right? You know, just kid stuff, nothing crazy. The huge. How about you, Steve?
Yep. I see Niners is in the chat. What's up, Niners? So cool. Nice seeing you, sir. Shout out to you. Yeah, man. I have to apologize to the audience. I might get spicy tonight a little bit. Today's day 4 on my keto diet. I'm doing keto, low carbing it. And it's kind of iffy for me.
hard.
You know, yeah, it's hard. It's really hard, to be honest.
Protein spice.
My goal is to get down to like 180. Right now, I'm running about 230 pounds, 235 pounds to be exact. So I want to get down to 180. That's my goal. And I'm also trying to, I'm not going to be on keto forever, just to adapt some good eating habits when it comes to healthy eating. And then I'll move on to something more of a more balanced diet than anything else. Yeah, so that's kind of what I'm doing. My whole household's doing. My wife is on her diet. She's calorie counting. I was like, I wish I could calorie count. I can't have bread if my life depended on it. I mean, I can have keto bread, but I don't know if you've had keto bread. I'll give you an example. I had chicken fajitas yesterday, right? And no, it wasn't yesterday. It was Sunday. Sunday night, I had chicken fajitas. And chicken fajitas, essentially, I used this no carb, it's zero carb net tortilla shell, or tortilla bread. And it was interesting. It had like the same texture, so it tasted like bread, but it didn't fill me up like bread. You know what I mean? It felt like I was eating air, if that makes sense.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and then I also found out because it's zero carb, you're not gonna want to put it in the microwave. I usually like heat up my tortilla before I make like a taco or something, and I usually put like a wet paper towel over it or something to steam it up. Don't do that, because what I found out with the zero carb stuff, it becomes dough at that point. Literally just becomes dough, legitimately. So that's what I found out.
That's crazy.
You live and you learn.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. You live and you learn. Everybody hit the like buttons. You know, we're gonna get this show started. It's gonna be great. We got a lot to talk about. We're gonna talk a little bit of college football, and then we're gonna dive right into the draft stuff. We got our first round mock draft. It's draft week, baby. There's already rumors flying. We'll definitely get into that. We got the Magic Pack I want to talk about. But yeah, hit the like button, subscribe if you're brand new, turn on the notification bell, check out some of our other content. My daughter, who shout out to her, she's probably one of the several people watching right now. She didn't really watch any of my stuff previously, right? So when I said, hey, why don't you watch my show tonight? I'll give you a shout out or something. You know, shout out to my daughter. She just turned 18 and now she's on her way to graduating in May. So it's going to be interesting. High school graduation. She was like, holy shit, Dad, you have so many videos. And I was looking at our channel. I was like, yeah, we've done quite a few shows. So definitely check out some of our old content. You know, there's tons of stuff there. Check out TFTG if you get a chance. If you are not part of the TFTG network, go check them out. We'll be live there as well. We're going to be live here, TFTG, and on X as well. You can see us on our own X handle, which is at 4th and 10U. Or you can watch me on my Twitter page and TFTG's Twitter page. We're going to be live on. We're live on there right now, but we're talking about for the draft, so it's going to be fun. But yeah. So I want to get into it. What do you guys want to do first? Do we want to talk college ball, or do we want to open up the Magic Pack? I'm kind of excited to see what's in this, to be honest.
I say let's open the Magic, then let's do college.
Yeah, that's not a magic. These are not Magic cards for those nerds out there. This is technically a special pack that my buddy on the last episode, Magic My Cards, put together. The other packs that we have, I'm going to be giving those away to some lucky person or people. But I decided to take one of the packs, and I'm going to split it up between Steve and Mystic. So we're going to see what they get And this is going to be a special pack. We're going to take a look at these. Ooh.
Ooh, free stuff.
Right.
I don't know if I should let you guys have this. I will make a trade for this card.
Ooh, piece of candy.
I will show it to you guys. I want to see what's here. So then okay, all right. I think it's funny. I'm gonna leave the last two as the last. How should I do this? CCR, I see spicy Ali is the best Ali. I agree. When I get spicy, I get really turned up. Level 2 noob. I don't think I can trust these picks. Y'all don't even. Funny. We're live everywhere because we want to be. Yes.
Shout out to Noob. We appreciate you, man.
We're multi-positional, dang it.
Yeah. Vamos Gatos. What is up, sir? I appreciate you. Everybody in the chat. Everybody in the chat. If you're not on the YouTube side, if you're on the X side, come over to YouTube. I see several people on X watching right now. Come over to YouTube. I want to know how should I divide this up between Mystic and Steve. Now there's 5 cards total. So one of them is going to be a special prize that I'll figure out how I'm going to give away. I'll do this.
You can send him to Mystic. He's the more collector of the two of us. I'm cool with that.
No, I'm going to make this easy.
He said no.
Who here? What day of the what is you don't give me the month or year, but of your birthday, what is the day? Like what number is the day?
What number is the day, you son of a gun?
No, like as in like your birthday, you have the month, the day, and the year. Don't give me the year. Don't give me just give me the day. Okay, he's number 4. You're 30, right?
Yeah.
Is that what you said? So you win. You had the highest. I was going with the highest.
First card. Finally, that worked in my favor for once in my life.
Wait, how do you set guidelines and then wait until after it set the guideline?
Right. I screwed it up. Here, I'll give you better guidelines.
You're good. Again, you're good, bro.
You're good?
That's hilarious. Right.
It's just like, hey, I'm gonna give some cash away. Hey, what's your birthdays?
I'm going to make this. I'm going to make this kind of fun. Mystic, name a rookie from last year, wears number 9, and had a pretty much a standout season for his team. I'll give you a hint. Wide receiver.
Oh no, he's not a rookie.
I'm going to change to my normal background so I can actually show you the card.
Yikes. Why is number 9 throwing me off so bad?
Do you want a college hint?
I feel like that'd be a giveaway. Honestly.
Not necessarily. Depends on how versed you are.
Okay, I guess. Go ahead.
You may not know this.
Go ahead.
Okay. The college hint, the college he went to supposedly has the best damn band in the land.
Nope, I'm not well versed, my brother.
I told you it was going to be hard. All right, you give up? He plays in Tampa.
Oh, Emeka Ibuka.
That is correct. You got a Donruss Threads rookie Emeka Ibuka card. It's actually pretty nice.
I'm not gonna lie, that's kind of a trick question because didn't he change to number 2?
He may have, but he was wearing number 9 in the. Yeah,
if he changed the 2 after, that's an even better worth of a card.
Yeah, number 9. So, all right.
So what college did he go to then?
He went to Ohio State. The Ohio State.
Oh, see, of course. You would ask an Ohio State question. This mother.
It was the first card. I'm sorry. I my buddy. I think this stack was actually for me, but that's okay. That's
all I know is the guy who recruited him went south. That's all I know.
This card is legit good. Actually, that card's good too, but this card I like even more. Man, something. Where's number 14? Also a wide receiver.
From Ohio State, probably no.
Nope.
Was he a rookie?
He is hold on a second. He is among one of the top USC alumni in the league.
Wish you interesting.
I'm guessing that was meant for me.
I'll give you a hint. I'll give you a team hint. I already gave you the college, right?
Mhm.
But the NFL team, this team was known for going 0-16 in a season. It was 0-16 or 0-15. They did not win a single game in a season. It was horrendous.
Cortland Sutton?
No. We're talking about NFL team. Actually, the Bears may have done that too, but
No. The Browns lost every single game.
yeah, but there was another team to do it before they did.
Was it the Lions?
Oh, it's yeah, it is. It's Amon-Ra. I was stuck between Amon-Ra and Cortland Sutton. I forgot about the Lions. I always think of the your clue actually threw me off the scent because I immediately go to the Browns when you start talking about losing all. Yeah.
All right. So this next player is kind of fitting because it's Mystic, and I think he'll know this player because he's not too far from the guy. This guy played. Is it 84 or 94? Let me see here. Okay, this guy plays for my rival, the one college team that I refuse to say their name because I hated them. Wears 84 and is a big time tight end, or is potentially could be a big time tight end.
What? Number 84. How many years has he been in the league?
I want to say he's been in the league 1 year. I think this is a rookie card. It is a rookie card.
Oh, shit.
Went to Michigan.
Yeah, that's why I was like, I can remember the damn tight end. Oh. Tyler Warren. Excuse me. They're about Tyler Warren.
No, not Tyler Warren. Went to Michigan. Tyler Warren did not go to Michigan. He went to
Oh God, no. Yeah, you're right.
You're on the right.
Loveland.
Yeah,
Colston Loveland.
Loveland. Yes. Oh my God.
I was gonna say you're in the right draft.
I figured you would know it only because of the fact that Colston Loveland plays for the Bears, and that's like right around your neighborhood.
He kind of got like lost to me last year. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Yeah, a lot of people, including myself, had him higher than Tyler Warren, and like he was good, but he was not as explosive as we thought he could be.
All right, so this next card goes to Steve. This is definitely a rookie, and this kid was a primetime kind of guy. And he played in the Big 12 and I will say there was no other better quarterback in the Big 12 than this guy.
He was a rookie this year?
This is a rookie card.
I swear.
Big 12 is a primetime card.
Shador Sanders.
It is actually. It's actually a really nice impact.
That's
Instant
hilarious.
impact. Shador Sanders card.
That's the nicest thing he's ever done.
Damn. All right, the last card. I'm going to give it to Mystic, but Mystic, I want to trade. I have a lot to trade. You can ask Steve. He's seen a lot of my collection.
Excuse me.
This last card, he played, in my opinion, he's playing for the best damn team in the land. Was quarterback, and he was definitely a Heisman finalist.
You talking about your quarterback currently?
Could be.
You talking about Julian Sand?
Yes. You got a rated prospect Julian Sand instant impact card. It's a pretty sick card, actually.
Dang. Yeah, you know, I'll be nice and I'll just say I'll let you have that, and you give me a card that you know that I'll like.
Okay, we will at some point privately.
Yeah, we'll figure that out.
We'll go over my collection, and I'll let you pick. The only card you can't have, and for those that have not seen it, is my Julian Sand card. My auto.
Oh, that's pretty sick. Yeah,
no way. No way.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't ask for that. I wouldn't do that.
Of,
Jeremiah Smith card, you mean?
Yeah, that card. I'm never giving that card up. Jeremiah Smith. I will say, speaking of Julian Sand, did you guys watch the spring games at all? Did anybody watch spring football this weekend? I did. Ohio State played themselves. The defense ended up winning. But there was a hell of a throw. There was like 2 or 3 good hell of a throws to Chris Henry Jr., the top-rated wide receiver in this year's past cycle. And the guy that made one of the big throws to him was the other quarterback at Ohio State, which I'm going to tell you right now, in my opinion, he is going to be the next big thing. Tavian St. Clair. I got his card too. So, yeah, really good stuff. So, Shador, Amon St. Brown goes to Steve. And no, actually, Shador, Amon St. Brown goes to Steve. Amika Buka and Colston Loveland go to Mystic, and then we'll decide on what happens with this. Maybe you get it, maybe I trade for it. So we will definitely check that out. All right. On with the
just because you did bring it up, the QB competition at USF was a hot one. They were trading touchdowns.
Were they?
Yeah, Van Buren and Kohok, I think is how you say his name. And then we did have a question in the chat about the Shador Sanders card. What's the number on it?
Oh, the number. So you can see which one it is. I will tell you in a second. My eyes are not the best, but give me a second. Give me a second to bring that up. I have to see if I can zoom in on this. My eyes are not the best, even with these glasses.
These bifocals.
Or bifocals, I'm sorry. Number...
Is it not numbered?
It is numbered, but it's Roman numeral 2-SSS.
Okay. Well, I mean, that answers the question, I'd imagine.
Yeah, that's what it says on the back. In fact, let me see if I can pull up an image of it, and I'll just put it on the screen so you can see it.
Tell us it's worth a lot of money. No.
Maybe at some point. Who knows? Who knows what happens this season? This season he might, but who knows what happens? To be honest.
Well, you know, there's people out there that think Shador is going to throw for over 2,000 yards or something. I mean, we'll see.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you know, that person was VC confident, and I don't think that's going to end well for him.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to find out about how much this card is worth for you, bro. It's a really nice card. Instant impact. It's pretty cool. Prism.
Which one's getting that?
That's you.
Oh, yay!
Hey, man, you like that with the Amon St. Brown though.
Yeah, hey, listen. Yeah, that's going next to Waddle.
Yeah. Instant impact. Let me take a look here.
I'll have my little brother look it up. He's
On eBay. It's going for $6.
yeah. So
Oh,
You know who else is gonna have an instant impact?
Hmm.
The guy that we have pegged at number 11.
Yeah, we'll get into that. Before we do, though, I want to get into some of the college news. Did you guys see they got the post-spring SEC coach rankings, at least for the top 6 coaches in the SEC? Did you guys see that yet? There was an article done on Yardbarker. It was kind of interesting. So I'll start from the bottom up. They have Ryan Silverfield of Arkansas as the 6th best coach in the SEC. Number 6. You guys kind of agree with that? Yes or no? I'll take that as a no. Silverfield may be the toughest job on the list in inheriting a program that went 2-10 last season, the worst record in the SEC since 2022. The immediate priority has been structural rebuilding with an offensive line that can pull in the gap scheme and block in space on screens, it says. So we will see. The number 5 goes to a surprise team to me, Kentucky Wildcats, Will Stein. Will Stein is leading the Kentucky Wildcats. There's a lot of excitement around Lexington. During the Stein era, he brings an offense that built on tempo and spacing. Kenny Minchie, I think is how you say his name, a Notre Dame transfer, seems to be picking up the system very quickly, according to reports. Alex Golish, number 4. Is that oh, boos. The boos are coming. I was about to say, isn't that the USF former coach?
yes.
Struggled offensively in the Hugh Freeze era. Speaking about Auburn, only averaging 18.5 points in conference play in 2025. Golish brings a quarterback-friendly modern system that attacks defenses in the space. Freshman wide receiver Deshaun Spencer had an impressive spring game with 9 receptions, 93 yards, and highlighting an upgraded room from a season ago. Very, very interesting. Also, one note, and you might like this, Steve. Byron Brown, who transferred from South Florida, where Golish went 9-3 last season, threw 2 interceptions in the game, highlighting a potential issue at the position. Doesn't look good for Byron Brown so far. So
he's just getting used to it there. I'm not worried about Bynum. Again, remember, this is the guy who went and basically became one of the only quarterbacks to run and throw for, I think it was like throw for 3,000 and run for 1,000 yards. Like, he'll be fine.
Definitely. Speaking of also new coaches, John Summerall, Florida Gators, is number 3 for the SEC. Summerall brings a proven program building experience to Gainesville after leading the Tulane Green Wave to a 20-8 record and a college football playoff appearance. Florida may not have the most complete roster, but Summerall's emphasis on toughness and defense structure addresses issues that have lingered in recent seasons. I kind of like that. If he's bringing a defensive mind and talking about toughness already, I like that in a coach. So just going to point that out. I don't expect much from the Florida Gators this season, but as a coach coming in to instill, the defense and, being tough-minded and being physical, I like that. I have to give it up to him. What do you guys think about John Summerall? Any thoughts?
I mean, I imagine he'll, if he does well, at least give them some good feeling with Napier gone. So they're just looking for something to get him going again. And they had some talent. Like that was that was one of the things. Like Florida was kind of a disaster with Napier, but like they had talent. It's not like they don't have weapons or anything on that team. I mean, Lagway was Lagway, but like.
Yeah. So the next two guys, I want to say there is some controversy here, because one is a former coach of the other team, and they're already giving the crown to somebody. What about the Alabamas or the Oklahomas? What about those coaches? They're not here. Let's talk about it. Pete Golding is number 2, the Ole Miss Rebels head coach. Golding proved he could handle the pressure, leading Ole Miss, guiding the Rebels to 2 playoff wins as interim head coach in 2025. He followed the run by signing the number 2 transfer class in the 2026 portal rankings, positioning the program as a playoff caliber team heading into the fall. I have to give it up to the guy. The guy not only, built a team out of the transfer portal, right? Then the number 2 team, like they said, but he also came away with 2 playoff wins. That's pretty impressive, going all the way to the semifinal. So very, very impressive to me. What do you guys think about Pete Golding? Do you think he's deserving of the number 2?
Man.
It was impressive.
Where was DeBoer on that?
He's not even on it. That's why I mentioned. Where's the Alabamas?
Yeah, no.
When I say number 1, you're gonna be like, you're gonna lose your shit, to be honest.
You must have a different one than I do.
Well, this is the article I'm reading off of Yardbarker.
Yeah, okay, it's Yardbarker. Because I pulled up, I thought I was on the same one as you. I misheard the name. Because I had some of the same, and it has DeBoer at 3 and Lane Kiffin at 2.
Yeah, this was yesterday's article.
Okay.
That got posted. Look, they got Pete Golding at number 2. I like what he did. I like the fact that he got to face pressure right off the get-go, and he was able to at least do something with half of a staff, or a staff, if you want to call it that. Number 1, they have LSU's Lane Kiffin. I don't agree with this.
No,
Lane Kiffin. I don't know. Something tells me that if Lane Kiffin was the head coach of Ole Miss and he coached Ole Miss into that semifinal, they wouldn't have gotten to the semifinal. That's number 1. I don't think they would have. Number 2, how do you give someone a crown when he hasn't done anything? If anything, since they hired him, it's been controversy, right? Where's DeBoer? Where's isn't Vanderbilt in the SEC too? That head coach is deserving on this, because of every year he ends up beating somebody that he shouldn't have beat. You know what I mean? Where's who else is where's Sarkisian? Sarkisian, I'm sorry, is one of the top coaches, regardless of what you think, regardless of what happened to Arch Manning this season, regardless of what what we've seen. Sarkisian is still one of the most technical coaches that I've seen out of the SEC. You know what I mean? He's competitive year in and year out. That's just my opinion. What do you guys think? I think it's a sham having Lane Kiffin as number 1.
Yeah, let's just Kobe and get rid of that list, because that's trash.
It's trash. Yeah,
that's crazy. And in a conference with Georgia in it is insane.
Absolutely. I thought it was insane. All right, let's go. Let's see what else I have on here before we start our draft. I know everyone's waiting patiently for that, and I appreciate you all. Make sure you hit the like button and subscribe if you're new. We're on the road to 100. Once we get to 100, I'm going to have a lot of more giveaways to give away. So definitely cannot wait for that. Let's see here. Any other college football important news to talk about? A lot of draft information, but I don't want to give that away yet. Uh-oh. Notre Dame's already losing four-star safety Khalil Terry. The Notre Dame Fighting Irish are down at commitment of the 2027 recruiting trail. He had been committed to the Fighting Irish since November of 2025. He recently unofficial visit to South Bend for Junior Day back in March, but Notre Dame will ultimately not be able to hold on the commitment. So they think he's going to commit somewhere else. That's very interesting. What else? Speaking of college, I saw University of Michigan's national championship basketball team visited the White House, from what I understand. That was kind of interesting. So shout out to them. What else? You guys have anything else college football before we get started on the NFL draft?
Not really.
Not really? All right, let's get into this. All right. So without ado, it's draft time. We are going to talk about our picks in our first round mock draft. It's the only one we're doing. Well, every year we'll just do one, and this is our picks. It came after an hour, 2 hours. It felt like more because me and Steve did it originally. So it felt like 4 or 5 hours of deliberation. And it was very hard. So after the first like 5 or 6 picks, it just got harder and harder to kind of decipher what we think teams are going to do. Just so you know, the premise of our draft, it's not what we think the teams should do, but it's more of the consensus of what we think they're going to do based on what's out there in the information we have, right? And also what they've done in the offseason. So without ado, these are the first 10 of our mock draft. At the top, we have Fernando Mendoza. Let's start with Fernando. Let's break it down why we picked Mendoza. And I will throw you guys on the side like this. So who would like to take this, or should I kick us off with Fernando Mendoza?
I mean, I can just say I feel like this is the easiest. This was the easiest pick of them all. I feel like everyone's talking about it, clear cut. I think if they don't take him at 1, I think it just is going to throw this whole draft for a loop. So I think it just makes sense. All the talk we've heard, everything, Mendoza or the Raiders.
Yeah, it has to be Mendoza for the Raiders for me. And I didn't mean to cut you, Steve, if I did that. Essentially, for me, it has to be the Raiders. The Raiders, to me, ultimately are needing that QB. They traded away Geno Smith. He came in there, didn't really perform the way that they thought it would work out. They have a lot of potential in that team. Having Max Crosby, will he still be there? I don't know. But they also have, Genty and other weapons that they've had, but they've never really had the QB to really take off for them. This is their one chance, with Tom Brady being in the building. Not saying that he makes the picks, but being in the building, I think he definitely is deserving enough to give his input to whoever is running the front office. I think this is a no-brainer. Fernando Mendoza is Mr. Clutch. The guy can make all the throws. When you need him to be the guy to lead you, he's going to be able to do that. He showed it throughout college. Playing in some of the biggest games ever. He had pretty much the biggest season any QB in the draft would dream of. Leading Indianapolis to a national championship. It was amazing. And I think if like you said, they're going to throw this draft for a loop, if Fernando Mendoza is not number 1, in my opinion, it will be the biggest flop since the Seattle Seahawks decided to throw on the goal line when they should have just handed it off to Lynch. That's what I'm going to tell you. If everybody remembers what happened in the Super Bowl. What do you think, Steve?
So, I mean, it's pretty evident they're going for quarterback. I know they brought in Kirk Cousins, and I think a lot of people would like to say, "Ooh, I called it. They're not going quarterback," and then it turns out they're not going quarterback. So I get to say, "Yay, I was right." The reality is they're going quarterback. Everybody in their system knows the Raiders went to the national championship game against Indiana to watch Mendoza. Like, they brought in who a lot of people have comped to his NFL to being Kirk Cousins.
Yeah.
Like, it's the perfect situation for him. And listen, we're talking about Tom Brady. Yeah, he could pull the swerve and be like, well, I was drafted in the 5th round and took over the job from the first rounder. So maybe he thinks that he can do that. But no, I don't think he overthinks it. I don't think the Raiders overthink it. I think this has been in the books for months. I think the only way they don't take the Raiders is if somebody shows up and gives them an amount of picks that is asinine and in the slightest to give away.
Yeah, absolutely. I kind of agree with that. Let me give you a hot take. You know, we haven't had a hot take yet on the show, on this episode, and I want to give you a hot take. Is it possible? And maybe it's not even a hot take. Is it possible that the Raiders pull off a Commanders like when they drafted RG3? They also drafted Kirk Cousins, right, in the same draft. Is that a possibility here? Could you imagine? And not saying they're going to do it with the second round pick that they have, but could you imagine? Let's say they pick Fernando Mendoza, and then Ty Simpson for whatever reason falls, and they pick up Ty Simpson, or maybe they're one of the guys that look at it, Taylor Green, maybe, you know, who knows? For me, Fernando Mendoza, just, it's a no-brainer at number one. But it would be interesting if they did pick up another QB. Do you expect them to, or do you think, or do you no, they're not going to pick up another QB in this draft? Mystic says no.
I think they could double up in the later rounds. I don't think it will be like one and then one at like 42, 41, right? But I could see them taking Fernando Mendoza and then swinging around in like the 7th, 6th, 7th round, and if Garrett Nussmeier or somebody, or somehow Drew Aller has fallen all the way down there, I could definitely see them taking another swing.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking. Something like that they could pull off. So number 2, David Bailey to the Jets. I'll just go ahead and say it. We technically had this called even before the news came out today, because we did this. What was it? Was it Saturday? It was last Thursday, I think, or last Tuesday. Last Tuesday we did this. We did this mock draft initially, and I originally had Arvell Reese going to the Jets, but I said if they don't go Arvell Reese, they're going to go David Bailey. So I thought about it, and I said, you know what? I think the Jets are going to go David Bailey. I think that's what we're going to end up hearing. And lo and behold, here we are today. News comes out that the Jets it's really looking like they're going to take David Bailey at number 2. It makes sense. They lost some players along their defensive line. They need to reinforce that defensive line for sure and create more pass rush. Overall, I think David Bailey, especially for the fact that he's more of an edge than even Arvell Reese is, I think it makes sense. What do you guys think of David Bailey at number 2?
Yeah, this was one of those things we talked about where it's like, it could be an Arvell Reese thing, but we think David Bailey makes sense. You know, they've done their research. It's been reported they've done all the research, everything they need on him. They didn't even do the 30-day, visit. So it makes sense. And that's kind of where we were at. It was David Bailey, and then obviously Arvell Reese and David Bailey. I mean, that's kind of how we see it panning out, right?
Definitely.
I think David Bailey's the best pass rusher in this entire class. I think sometimes we even though, Arvell Reese is a very talented player, he's just raw, and he has his pass rush moves are limited. He has, like I said, he has the athleticism, he has the size. I still don't even know if I like him as an edge player. I still kind of prefer him as like a Will, right, to use that athleticism. But Bailey he has the production, and some people are like, oh well, where was that production before he got all the help at Texas A&M? Where was that the year before? You could see it the year before. The pass rush was there. It's just he had to figure it out, and he took a step that a lot of people wanted Chop Robinson his final year at Penn State to take, right? Like finally figure out how to finish, and Bailey was finishing. Now, his run defense, I still think is a question mark. How will he be able to handle the run? But if he, with the Jets, with how that defensive line, I think is going to finish out for them with the linebackers they've brought in, I think he has a really good spot under a defensive head coach to be a very good player in the league. So I think this just fits their need. He's the best pass rusher. It's a marriage made in heaven for the Jets.
Yeah, definitely. I agree. I agree. I mean, we'll see what happens on draft day. This could be another smoke screen, but I just think David Bailey just makes too much sense. And I think he'll end up becoming a Jet. Number 3, we have Arvell Reese. Arvell Reese was one of the most highest prolific linebackers from Ohio State this year. Showed a lot of potential. People actually had him as high as number 2 at some point. I want to say, in my opinion, being an Ohio State fan, that I felt that Arvell Reese is really good, has a high ceiling. However, later on in the season, he kind of dropped off just a tiny bit. He kind of disappeared in the last 2 important games, in my opinion. But it definitely makes sense for the Cardinals. Cardinals need edge. I think overall, I think it makes sense. They're going to take the next biggest thing, and somebody that's so athletic and has that freak athlete style of abilities. They're going to go with Arvell Reese. I think that's the pick. What do you think, Steve or Mystic? Either one of you.
Yeah. I think Arvell Reese fills a couple roles for them. They need a guy that they can move around and try and figure out what from linebacker to edge, whatever they decide to do. We also talked about offensive tackle here, and we talked about maybe a running back. Both I think, or all 3 were good choices, but I honestly think the Cardinals are going to continue to build that defense and give whoever they end up putting at quarterback this year some help, because Lord knows they ain't got one as of now. And with the conversations of Jacoby Brissett wanting starting quarterback money, that still remains a question for them going forward. So filling out this defense is going to help whoever they get.
What do you got, Mystic?
I mean, more of the same, right? More of the same. I mean, this draft was, again, put together because all of us found a way to, basically make it make sense. And, we each had our own kicking and screaming things about certain players. But again, you just break it down and it becomes a team need. And again, this is that next, like I said prior to, David Bailey comes off that, or 2. I too do expect Arvell Reese to follow shortly after. I mean, that's just kind of a given at this point.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that as well. I was looking at Arizona's depth chart. They have who do they have over there? Darius Robinson, right? And then on the other side, I want to say they have who is their other they have Josh Sweat is the other guy I think they have, right? So in my opinion, they're looking to get a new, younger QB either in this draft. If they don't do it in this draft, they're going to do it in 2027. And the best way to do that is to address your defense. Make sure you have your defense all set up. Why would you need that if you're bringing in a younger QB? It's just the general philosophy on how to build your team. In year 1, you want the defense to keep it close, to give your younger quarterback opportunities and certain looks, to get him in a situation to learn in different scenarios. That's essentially the premise behind it. But yeah, so that's kind of why, I don't want to get into the Miami Dolphins side of things yet because people I know are going to wait for that. But that's kind of why I think we build the certain way that we are as well. So let's keep it moving. In addition, number 4, and I still think this is what ends up happening. I know Steve and both Mystic kind of pushed against it, but it makes sense. The Tennessee Titans have come away with drafting some of the best running backs in the NFL or in at football history, right? Eddie George, Chris Johnson, Derrick Henry, for example. And who's going to be the next guy? Jeremiah Love, arguably the best running back in this entire draft. And when we say best running back, I'm going to take this away from Steve. Steve will say that this year in this draft, if you look at running backs, there's Jeremiah Love, and then there's nobody for a very long time in this draft. There is a huge cliff that everybody falls off of. And Jeremiah Love, he can do everything. He's going to be your power back. He's going to be your running back that, every down. He catches well. He does everything that you ask out of your running back. He's the next biggest thing. I'm going Jeremiah Love to the Titans. It makes complete sense. How do you guys feel about it?
I mean, you're spot on. They always have a way. I feel like, okay, history with the Titans, exactly to your point, shows they love taking those running backs, and I feel like at times they didn't always have the quarterback, and I think they have a potential here, with Cam there, Mr. Cam Ward. Giving him a running back like Mr. Jeremiah Love here will allow him to be able, in my opinion, to play more. You'll be able to kind of hand the ball off every once in a while, take some of that pressure off his back. Like this is everything that Cam Ward could want to get a high weapon coming into that offense. So, again, it makes perfect sense actually from that perspective.
Yeah, I mean, think of it this way, and just to clarify for people at home, we didn't do any trades in this mock draft, right? The only trade that we accepted was the one that happened right as we were discussing this with Mystic, and that was the Giants trade, right? Beyond that, we didn't do any other trades because there is a potential of a trade down here. Let's play into the argument that you feel that Tennessee needs more weapons for Cam Ward, right? Let's say they need a receiver. I would argue, though the best receiver is on the board, there's still question marks that you're not going to take him at number 4, right? You want to take him later on, maybe outside of the top 10, possibly. I know there is a receiver in this top 10, but we'll talk about that when we get to him. But the point is that I feel that if you look at what Tennessee needs to do, they need to solidify their offense, and they've added some to their offensive line. They have their quarterback. They need a running back to take the ball out of his hands every so often. You don't want to rely on your young QB year in and year out. You need to get that running game going. I know they have some guys there. They have Tony Pollard. They have who else? They have Michael Carter, I think. Tyjair Spears, I think is how you say his name. They have those guys there, but they're not Jeremiah Love, right? Tony Pollard's good, but is he Jeremiah Love? No. And that's, to me, he comes in day one, he's going to be your starting running back. That's just my opinion. What do you think, Steve?
We originally talked about this. I still wouldn't be surprised if they take Jordan Tyson or Carnell Tate to give that vertical threat weapon. I think there could be a shakeup still where they overdraft Kenyon Sadiq to give him a tight end because a young quarterback's favorite friend is a tight end. But the more I've sat on this, it just makes sense, right? Tennessee's known for their run game. They're known for their high-end running backs. Jeremiah Love fits that mold. I wouldn't be surprised, which is obviously why we went for it. It's a pick that makes sense. And there's even been conversations going on that he may not make it to 4. He may be gone at 3. So we'll see how that falls and shakes out.
Yeah.
But I don't foresee him getting past number 4.
Yeah, that's another thing. I mean, to be clear, I think there's a chance that Tennessee trades down at number 4, to be honest. I think there's a chance that happens. But because we didn't want to do trades, I still think Jeremiah Love, if they pick at number 4, it's going to be Jeremiah Love if he's on the board, right? So that's just my opinion. Any other thoughts on Jeremiah Love before we continue? No. All right, number 5. And this one, it was interesting because Giants need quite a bit. They need offensive linemen. They do need a receiver to go along as their number 2 receiver. And there's some other areas of need that they have. But they got a new coach in town. New coach, taking all the reins away from their GM. For me, I think he's going to do what he's comfortable with. And that's draft, toughness, both on the offensive line and defensive line, or even in the defense in general. I'm going Jeremiah Love. Jeremiah Love is going to be the number 1 pick for Jim Harbaugh as a Giants head coach. And it's going to be it's going to be Sonny Styles. Sonny Styles is going to be the guy. And it just makes sense. Sonny Styles, freak athlete, the sure tacular. What am I saying? He is spectacular, absolutely. But he's a sure tackler. And what I mean by that is at one point in the season, the guy had 100% tackle rate, right? Actually, for almost the whole season. I think the one missed tackle happened in either the Miami game or the Indiana game. Pick one, to be honest. The guy blew it up at the draft. He was the talk of the draft. He broke records left, right, and center. Super fast. I think the guy had a 4.38 or something like that he ran. It was something stupid. And to me, it just makes complete sense. And if you also look at recent, Giants traded away Dexter Lawrence. So you might say, they need defensive tackle, or something like that. But they're also looking to trade one of their linebackers away. On top of it, they've been dangling that carrot in front of everybody. So I don't think their business is done. But I think Sonny Styles is on the board. It's too hard to say no at 5. It makes sense to me. I'm going Sonny Styles, and that was the consensus. What do you guys have to say about it?
How dare John Harbaugh get such a great talent at Sonny Styles as soon as he goes to the Giants? How dare he?
I agree. How dare you? What do you think, Steve? What are your thoughts?
See, I even get the pushback because a lot of the pushback we're going to get on this one is they signed Tremaine Edmonds from the Bears and they still have Micah McFadden. But let's be honest, you don't pass up on premier talent just because you might have somebody in the room. Tremaine Edmonds on the back end of his career, I believe, and though I like Micah McFadden, he's kind of just okay. He's not great. I think you could do a lot better, and you're adding Sonny Styles to not just be just some linebacker on your defense. He is going to be your leader. He is going to be your Mike or your green dot. He's going to be he's going to be your Mike. He's going to be the entire thing that you build the rest of that defense around, and you're adding that supreme talent to an edge room in front of him that has guys like Brian Burns and Abdul Carter. I think that defense is screaming for a true middle linebacker who is just going to give you everything you ask for, from coverage to run stopping.
Yeah. And I'm glad you brought up coverage because Sonny Styles was a converted safety to linebacker, right? And he was amazing at Ohio State. The guy had back-to-back, standout seasons. To me, this guy is the real deal. If you ever go and check out the Styles family, because it's not just him. There's a picture of him, his dad, and his brother standing there, and his dad looks like the Hulk standing there, bro, with massive muscles, massive dude, right? He comes from a freak athlete family. and they're all business. No, it's all gas, no brakes. It's all business. That's basically that's my wrestling talk for today. You know what I mean? Or however he does
Yeah,
it. You know
I
what I'm
mean,
talking about.
yeah,
Yeah,
you can't even like even his little brother, right? Like he's a
yeah,
developmental safety, but you're talking about a kid who ran a 4.2.
yeah, yeah.
Like at what is he 6'6" 6'1"? Like he's not
Um,
that small.
no, he's taller, I think. Lorenzo Styles, right?
Yes. I believe
Yeah,
he's 6 foot or 6'1". He's like right in that ballpark range. Like that family is extremely athletic and extremely tough.
yeah. And they, he comes from a football family, and I like that about him. Yeah, he is 6'1", 194 pounds. Look, for me, it just Sonny Styles is the pick. I'm sorry for Giants fans that disagree, but I think he's definitely going to be there, and he's going to be able to be instant impact day one starter, in my opinion.
Well, and just one last point on that too. Remember who we're talking about. Like I get he's the special teams coordinator, but Harbaugh's always been that Ravens defense has always been built up the middle. Defensive tackles, linebackers, and safeties. They took Tyler Nubin a few years ago, who's been decent, and they got Javon Holland. They think he is their franchise free safety, right? And now it's just building the linebacker room and defensive tackles room. And I do think they'll swing around maybe in the second round and grab a defensive tackle at some point. But they believe in building up the middle. That's that Raven mentality, and I think he's going to bring that with him.
Jermaine says that Sonny Styles, was it Sonny Styles or Lorenzo Styles are you talking about? Because Sonny Styles in coverage is pretty decent. I don't know what you've been looking at. I've seen him in coverage. He's pretty decent, to be honest. And regardless of what you say, I still think he's the best player on the board at this point too. On top of it, so I disagree with that. Lorenzo Styles, he was kind of iffy. He's a developmental safety, as we mentioned before. I definitely agree with that. Let's move on to the next pick. And Steve, I'm going to give this one to you to start us off, because this is your guy at offensive tackle that you love.
My heartbreak. Francis Mauigoa to the Browns. God, this is the best tackle in the class. I know people want to say what they want to say about Fano. Some people think that, he at some point was like this great tackle. I've heard a lot of goodness about Freeling and even Proctor coming all the way up here, which is insane to me for a guy who I still think needs development at his position, though I get the ceiling, right? Francis Mauigoa is the best tackle. He's a mauler in the run game. He's a stiff anchor in the pass game. We saw how much time he gave UM's quarterback to get the ball out. Like, there's concern about his back, but all reports are saying nobody is worried about it. It'll be something that they'll clean up next year in his sophomore year during the offseason. So this guy is, yeah, who's got the gas mask? You absolutely right. I wish we could get a gas mask picture of Mauigoa so we can get him to 11. Because you want to talk about solidifying a line? Yeah. So the Browns get an absolute amazing tackle.
Man, the Browns finally do something right. They take care of their trenches to build for whatever QB decides to take the reins. Interesting.
Yeah, definitely. Look, for me, we kind of went back and forth a little bit between wide receiver and offensive tackle here. Earlier on, I thought there was a chance that Cardinal Tate would be a Brown, to be honest. Browns have a history of drafting former Buckeyes, so it would make sense to me, as well as they've been looking for a receiver for a while. In the offseason, there's been rumors that they've been interested in trading with the Cardinals for Marvin Harrison Jr., for example. In addition, there's other receivers that they've looked at trading for. But ultimately, I think they have a chance here to go ahead and and solidify their offensive line, who's much older now, right? I think they have a chance to solidify the offensive line a little bit better. They need some help there. They need to protect their quarterbacks or whoever the quarterback is going to be at this point. Why not get the best guy? And to be honest, this is the best offensive tackle. I do have to agree with that overall in this draft. So, yeah, that's why we went with Francis. Any other final thoughts on Mayagoa?
No, sir.
No, sir. Carnell Tate to the Commanders at wide receiver. At first, I didn't necessarily agree, but it makes complete sense, right? Wide receivers, they've lost quite a few wide receivers. Commanders, they need someone there for their young QB as well. And on top of it, Terry McLaurin's getting older. It just makes sense. You go and get a guy that you could say is the Terry McLaurin clone, if you will. If you want to say he's a clone, I don't want to say he's a clone, but he does a lot of similar stuff, similar style of wide receiver. This guy has good hands, can catch, contested catches very well. My only issues with Carnell Tate, even though the consensus is he's going to be the first receiver off the board, I don't necessarily agree with that, but that's what everybody is telling me that he will be. My issue is he doesn't get off press as much as he should, as well. And he self-admitted that in the draft. There's one thing I could work on is getting out of press at the line. And I think if he puts on some extra pounds, maybe build up those arms a little bit, I think he can definitely do that. But he can run routes. Now, I will argue that he doesn't have the fullest route tree. I agree with that. But he is a go-to guy. And I definitely agree that they do need some weapons in Washington. So we'll see. What do you guys think? Carnell Tate.
I think we argued a couple. I think I argued potential for Jordan Tyson here as well.
Mm-hmm.
Regardless, wide receiver makes sense here. Carnell Tate makes sense. We did ultimately decide. I remember we talked because a lot of people seem to be, like you said, Carnell Tate's the first one going off the board. Like I don't know. I don't know what it's all about, but there's a trend to it, so we're on that trend, folks.
Yeah, that's it's. I was questioning why is Carnell Tate the first receiver on most mock drafts taken too. I guess it's based on injury question marks with some of the other receivers. We'll see what happens, but there was some I don't want to call it news or rumors by a credible source that came out today, and I shared that with Steve and Mystic. The Commanders are extremely high on Ohio State star wide receiver Carnell Tate. And it was quoted saying, "I've heard Carnell Tate is their guy. This could change, but Carnell Tate could be sitting there at 7. You pair him with Terry McLaurin and you go to work." It was the exact quote. So we will see. We will see. That's very interesting. This one, the Hurricane fans may not be happy.
I didn't get to get my take on Carnell Tate.
Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize. I skipped.
I want people to understand that I do not believe he is a number one wide receiver when I say what I'm about to say. I think I said this when we live streamed the Ohio State and UM game. I banged the table on this that Carnell still needs to prove when they take away Jeremiah that he can handle and take over the game, because let's be honest, like he's facing at times the third best corner and the second best safety. UM was missing their starting secondary outside of Jacoby Thomas and their nickel corner. Everyone else was hurt, and he still failed to show up. CJ Daniels was more pop off the screen than Carnell Tate. Carnell Tate needs a lot of work on his route running. He struggles to get off the line of scrimmage. He screams Devontae Parker to me, and that's why it scares me. And Parker was far better in college than he was. So I get it, and in reality, I would take Jordan Tyson if I was the Commanders, but all intensive purposes, the Commanders seem extremely high on Carnell Tate.
Yeah, they are. Based on everything I've read, they're very high on him. I agree with you for the most part. I just don't want to say he's the Devontae Parker because I think his work ethic is way, way higher than Devontae Parker ever was. On top of it, and while I will agree he had maybe Devontae Parker had a better college career. I actually have seen Carnell Tate take over. Not I don't want to say take over a game, but win a game when they locked down Jeremiah Smith. That was the Texans game. Remember, he was the guy that caught that contested catch in the end zone and scored the winning touchdown. So I see your point. I definitely see your point. We'll see. I don't think he is the top wide receiver in this draft either. To be 100% honest, we'll talk about that gentleman later. But I do see what you mean. But it's interesting why Commanders are really high on him, though. So we'll have to find out what that reason is. The Saints, go marching in and they go get Ruben Bain. They need an edge player. Their edge, I believe, retired this season. Correct me if I'm wrong on that.
Yes.
Why not take the best edge that they have available? Some people will argue he's the best edge player in this draft. I disagree. I think David Bailey is, personally. But Ruben Bain, best edge available. Hell of a defender. He's super quick off the line. Can definitely create havoc and get to the quarterback or the running back, whenever he's tackling. My only issue with Ruben Bain, and I will argue this, I do not care what you say. I will show proof of this. In certain games, he falls asleep. And what I mean by falling asleep is I feel like he doesn't show up as much as a guy of his caliber should show up, if that makes sense. That's my only issue with Ruben Bain. Otherwise, I think he would have been drafted higher. Ruben Bain to the Saints. Either of you guys, what do you guys think of that? That's our pick. What's your analysis of it?
Yeah. Again, this is something we discussed. We went through, their picks, their positions, the depth, kind of talked about it. Cam Jordan retiring. It makes sense to get a young edge talent to really throw out there. I think they still have Chase Young, which, he has his moments, right? But you really got to find that next talent to really be the anchor of that defense here for the next couple of years. And I think Ruben Bain will make himself right at home in New Orleans.
Yeah. I think that's what ends up happening. I'm hearing a lot of people that the Saints like him a lot. So a lot of people say that. Any other thoughts on Ruben Bain, Steve?
Yeah, I think a lot of talk about his short arms, and I understand it is a very valid concern. He showed up when it mattered most in the playoffs, in the big moments in the playoffs. He had a rough game against, I believe it was Texas Tech, but outside of that, he was showing up, and you could see it. Like, teams did go out of their way to make sure he was taken care of. Rather, it was chipping, putting, the tight end on him with the tackle, right? Doing everything they could to keep him, because his first step, though he's not a great athlete, his first step is very fast and he's very powerful. But then sometimes that also allows him to get locked away by tackles who have the length and have the power to keep him inside. So there's still questions, I think, about his ability to finish in the pass rush, but he's shown a propensity to finish when it mattered the most, and that's all I was asking from him. He could be a little more dominant, but it allowed Akeem Mesidor to kind of shine himself too. On that note, I will be right back, Ollie.
No worries. Yeah, I definitely agree. Saying that he showed up when it mattered the most, Yeah, in the national championship game, I'd say he showed up, and in some of the playoff games he did. But you can look at the later half of the regular season. There were some important games. That Pittsburgh game, the game against God, what team was it that they played?
Louisville.
Well, the Louisville game, yeah, that's one of them. But there's another ACC team I can't think of that last year they made the playoffs. They were in the playoffs last year. God, who was it? Miami lost to them too. Let me look it up real quick because that's going to bother the heck out of me why I can't think of it.
So Virginia Tech, right?
SMU. The SMU game, I want to say he fell asleep for too. Like, and when I say that, I'm talking about he just didn't show up, right? And that's a game that at that point you put your potential of getting to the college football playoff at jeopardy, right? And that's a game you need to show up. You need to show up and get the job done. After your first loss, you need to get the job done and do whatever you got to do to get it done. And he just really wasn't popping off. In fact, one game I want to say, I think it was in the playoffs. The guy only had one tackle. That was it, the entire game, right? That stuff bothers me. I know people say no, there's no issue with it. You don't know what you're talking about. When you don't show up and put full effort in, it bothers the heck out of me. That's just my opinion.
I get it.
So, and especially when you're going up against guys that you should be able to throw around like ragdolls at the same time. You know what I mean? That's kind of like, what are you doing? Everybody hit the like button. I want to check in with the chat. Shout out to Vamos Gatos is still in here. CCCR. My brother was in here, I see. Shout out to him. Kahari, what's up, Kahari? Long time no see. I hope everything is well with you. I hope all is good. What does he have to say? Proctor is a sleeper pick to the Finns. Interesting.
We better hope not.
What does this say? I know a lot of chatter has been on the Finns taking the guard Vega with our first pick, but watch out for Proctor. He projects as an eventual dominant right tackle, but is on par with Vega as an immediate. I don't know if I agree with that. Vega is, in my opinion, I think Vega is one of the next best offensive linemen in this draft, to be honest. I think he's up there. Proctor, I know he's good. He has a lot of athletic ability, which people love. My only issue is that a lot of people still see him as a project. And if I'm picking offensive lineman this high at 11, even at 11, I want it to be a sure thing, to be honest.
Yeah, he's still a project.
Yeah, he's still a project. All right, let's keep it moving. So this was my first heartbreak. One of my 3 possibilities at heartbreak. This was my first one. Mansour Delane, to me, arguably is the best corner in this draft. I think he's special, athletic. It can be a ball hawk, can be a force on. You could be on his island if you wanted. At some point, I think people are going to be living on his island, basically. And the Chiefs, unfortunately for me, they traded Trent McDuffie this year. They need a corner to solidify that secondary. They're going to take the best corner off the board. That's Mansour Delane. And he does everything. Very, very special player, in my opinion. Yeah, so Chiefs, it makes sense. They need one bad. Oh, this could also been a spot for Ruben Bain for me. But I don't see Saints, who lost their edge. I don't see them skipping on Ruben Bain. Mansour Delane, they traded their corner away. I think it's going to be Mansour. What do you guys think? Or what's your guys' thought process on why you agreed with this?
I mean, obviously, I'm always again going through the processes here, and they do have some other needs, but based on how Spags runs that defense, that makes sense to me. And again, plug in that corner that they just got rid of. The only concern would be Chris Jones in the middle, obviously aging, so I would expect them, maybe the second round or something, to try to find a defensive tackle or something to start to develop there with Chris Jones probably in his last couple years, right? So overall, again, continuing to be cornerback heavy team that carries the defense makes sense.
Thank you. Whatever you did, you just fixed your mic. So great job. Definitely. What do you think, Steve?
So I agree with you. This was my heartbreak. I saw 3 players going here: Caleb Downs, Mansour Delane, or Ruben Bain. All 3 of them, I think the Chiefs would love to get their hands on. Mansour, for me, is the best corner in this class. His ability to play man and corner, and be so good that people forget he's on the field. And I don't know, it sounds crazy when people are talking like, oh, well, I don't even notice him. Well, there's a reason for that, because they're not throwing at him. There are times where he gets beat, but every corner gets beat every now and again, especially when you're playing against the Jeremiah Smiths or playing against the best wide receivers in college. There are going to be times where he gets beat. We watched as fans, we watched PS2 get cooked by Robbie Anderson, right? It happens. Mansour, I think, is a complete corner who can play on either boundary, could play a little. I think you could put him in the slot at times. He has the athleticism. He has the ability to play anywhere you really want him to. This is an absolute steal for the Chiefs. They get another one.
Yeah, I think so too. I agree 100%. All right, number 10. Giants traded with the Cincinnati Bengals, sending Dexter Lawrence to the Bengals for their first round pick here at 10. Spencer Fanu. The Giants need offensive linemen, right? And I think they're just gonna take the next best offensive tackle off the board. This Spencer Fanu is versatile. He can play inside, outside, all over the place. And I think Jim Harbaugh is going to start building. He addressed the defense. Now he's going to build the offensive line, just like he did as a Ravenheads coach. I'm going with Spencer Fanu. Not Jim Harbaugh. I'm talking about John Harbaugh. I'm sorry.
Yeah, the athleticism's there. The upside's there. You can play him at guard. You can play him, which is really what they need. They need guard. He even tried to take some snaps at center at the combine to show his ability. I personally am not a big fan of Fano, but again, like I mentioned earlier with Maui Goa, across the league, there's a lot of love for this kid. We'll see what it turns out to look like, but they need guard, and it was between him and Vega, and I think his ability to switch between guard or tackle can fill a necessary need for an offensive line that doesn't have a lot of depth.
Yeah, absolutely. What do you think, Mystic? What are your thoughts on why we decided this?
Well, the other argument was obviously you still have Vega there, right? So it's like I argued that, put Vega next to Andrew Thomas type of thing. But I mean, again, for positional flexibility, for what they already got, Fanu also makes sense. So it's like, I mean, again, it wouldn't surprise me if Harbaugh doubled down on defense here. We talked about that too. Maybe he takes Caleb Downs here after he takes Sonny Styles. But for what we had, what we all agreed on, you take defense early, and then you help support your young franchise quarterback and continue to give him protection and make sure that offense can do what they need to do.
Absolutely. Well, that was our top 10 of our first round mock draft. Everybody hit the like button. I see Level 2 Noob in there saying that the fix is in. I think I know what he's referencing. It's not in. We've already released what our next pick is. If you were in the space, you probably already heard it. But everyone hit the like button, subscribe if you're brand new. Follow us at 4th and 10U on YouTube, and also follow us on X on at 4th and 10U as well. And just so you know, we're going to be live all throughout the draft. You can follow us here, or even on TFTG Network. You can follow us there as well. It's going to be a lot of fun. So, and there's going to be some giveaways for the draft, as well as speaking of subscribers, we're getting closer and closer to 100. Once we get to 100 subscribers, we will start having a lot more giveaways as well. All right. The next, Steve, did you need a quick break or something? Is that why you took off? Or
I didn't even realize it popped off. I'm gonna say the key.
Oh, okay. No worries. No worries. Well, pick 11 through 20. All right. A lot of people around here's favorite subject, the Miami Dolphins. The Miami Dolphins, with the 11th pick, in our opinion, are probably going to take Caleb Downs at this point. I know a lot of people, Kahari thinks we're going to go offensive lineman. I'm not going to even lie. In our original rendition of this, before the trade that happened with the Giants, we actually had us taking Vega, right? I had Vega as a Miami Dolphin, to be honest. I don't see how Hafley and Sully get past having a player of Caleb Downs' caliber past them, right? I'm not even going to say the kid's generational, but the kid definitely is a solid pick. It would fill one of the biggest holes we have on this team, which right now is the safety room, right? There's nobody we have. We traded away Mika Fitzpatrick. There's Trader. That's one guy that we got last year. He really didn't prove to be the guy either. And if it's not a safety, it's a corner. So right now, the top corner. You okay?
I'm laughing at Noob. I'm sorry.
What did he say? I gotta see this.
So, oh man, fire me, Noob. Fire me. Generational hate. That's all I hear from people. I was the one who really found a way to kind of, mud some things up, and I think when you think about these young defensive head coaches and the ones that I see that matter, that will actually win the championship, like we just saw, which was, I believe, the second or third defensive-minded head coach to do it, you don't really see a lot of them. They love having their secondary pieces, their corners, their, chess pieces, if you will. That's exactly what Caleb Downs is. He is a converted safety to linebacker Yes. Linebacker to safety, right? That's the other guy. I'm sorry. I have my guy switched up. But regardless, we're talking about Caleb Downs, a guy that you could put all over. He plays all three. What I'm talking about is I looked up his numbers, and the guy played last year 35% safety, 35% in the box, and he was only at slot corner the other, 20-some% of the time. So he's either deep or up in the box making tackles. So I want a guy like that, and he can also be the green dot, because people forget right now, yeah, we got Brooks, we got good things, but Jordan Brooks is in our green dot.
Yeah, 100%. And look, that's the reality. I know people hate on this, but I think that when you have a guy like Caleb Downs on the board, I just don't see them, I don't see them skipping on Caleb Downs. My first person I wanted was Mansour Delane. That's who I really wanted. But obviously he's going to go to Kansas City. I mean, you could go Vega here, but you have a defensive-minded coach. I really think they're going to build from the defense first before they build from the offense. And besides, you have another first-round pick. You could very well go offensive lineman later in the draft. It's very possible. Even in the second round, we have 2 seconds, I want to say, right?
No, 4 thirds.
We have 4 thirds. Okay, I'm sorry. So we have 2 firsts, a second, and 4 thirds, right? You could use some of those thirds, move up in the second round if you needed to, get yourself the best remaining offensive lineman, which there could be a couple still available. I'll go back to what Mystic is saying. The numbers speak for itself. I think ultimately he's going to be they have him rated as a top 10 guy for a reason, right? Yeah, we're getting him at 11, but that's because we get lucky with the Giants, to be honest. Otherwise, if the Giants don't trade for that pick, I don't think we have a chance at Caleb Downs, to be honest. 100%.
So this thing here is we mulled over this, and I think I want people to understand we mulled over this over and over and over. There is not a team that I have heard of or seen of that doesn't have Caleb Downs as a top 10 player on their board. He is the number one safety on everybody's boards. You get to a point where it's like Downs is now considered one of the highest players on the board, and I love Vega, and I would take Vega if it was me taking the pick, because I believe in building the trenches and giving the protection for your quarterback. But this defense, you're talking about a 31-year-old Lonnie Johnson and Dante Trader. Now, I love Dante Trader. He's very good at Maryland. He was the green dot at Maryland. He's a very smart player. He's also an undersized safety. You brought him to free safety, and then even though I think we're going to play technically 2 deep safeties, but that's another conversation for another day. But you put Dante in a place where he can see the whole field. That's where he's at his best. And then you just use Caleb Downs as a Swiss Army knife everywhere else on your defense. You can put him at nickel corner. You can rotate him out to play a little boundary if you want to get really technical. You can play him at sub linebacker. He is too much of a Swiss Army knife for a defensive head coach. I cannot see them passing him up. Again, for me, I have other people I would prefer, but when you look at it from the lens of what I believe the league and what we believe the league is looking at, Caleb Downs is the best player on the board at this moment.
Yeah. Yep. Again, this mock draft is not what we think the teams should do. It's what we think the teams are going to do. Essentially. Next pick, Jermod McCoy to the Cowboys. Now that might change with some news that came out recently with McCoy's supposed injury. But I'm going to point this out. We just saw the same exact type of injury come out about Caleb Downs earlier on in this offseason. But it ends up being a smokescreen. It's not even true, right? Is this another smokescreen? Is it legit? Maybe it is. Maybe it isn't. But for me, Jermod McCoy makes a lot of sense for the Cowboys. They need a corner, right? They traded people away or let people go recently, and they need to solidify that defense. They need corner. They also need edge, I would argue. But I think with Mansour Delane off the board and now Caleb Downs is off the board, you're going to take the next best piece of the secondary off the board, and that is Jermod McCoy. Had a hell of a pro day. Ran something stupid. I want to say it was like a 4.38 or something like that. Something stupid. You ever see this guy? He's a big, tall corner, ball hawk, takes the ball right out of the sky every time. I like this kid. In fact, if he wasn't for the injury, I would be okay with a Jermod McCoy, in fact. But, it is what it is. Yeah, what do you guys think? What's your analysis of why we went with Jermod McCoy?
Dallas being Dallas. They love their corners. They either love their wide receivers, they love their corners, I swear. It's one or the other. This just, again, bolsters what they already got. Their offense is loaded. They need that defense to really pick up the slack. And this just kind of goes right hand in hand with that, right?
Yeah.
So the Cowboys lost, though he really wasn't their starter. They lost Diggs. Siobhan Revel's dealing with injuries. Like, he's had an injury problem, and he's injured again. Deron Bland is a very good corner. And then it's they went and got Kobe Durant too, right? So corner may not even be the biggest need. I still think they're missing their number one corner, the guy who they're going to place up against the more athletic guys. Jamal McCoy fills that role. If he wasn't hurt, we're talking about him and Mansour Delane being an argument over who's the best corner in this class. I think the Cowboys could go linebacker, but with Arvell Reese and Sonny Styles gone, I don't think they're going to reach for one of the other linebackers later, like the CJs and stuff like that. This move just makes so much sense for them. They get their corner. Dallas doesn't have as many needs as I think people think they do. They have their wide receiver room. They could always use running back, but they're doing pretty well. I think corner is one of their more needs because of just the overall room itself, maybe even safety. But I really think at this point, Jamal McCoy is the best corner on the market, and they need to corner that market.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. Jermon McCoy, will he be this year's Will Johnson? Remember last year, Will Johnson had that really bad knee injury, I think it was, or something like that. And he just dropped. He was supposed to be a top 10 player, in fact. And he just dropped all the way to I want to say the second round. Jermon McCoy, I don't think he drops to the second round because of what people saw with Will Johnson, because when he played in the league, he had a hell of a season as a Cardinal, right? So I don't know. I don't think he drops. So that's why I'm sticking with the Cowboys taking Jermon McCoy. Number 13, Makai Lemon, wide receiver to the Rams. Rams recently in news. I'm hearing news that Matt Stafford's going to get an extension, and they need why not add another weapon for them? And this one we did go back and forth. I know Steve was saying Jordan Tyson here. I was thinking originally it would be Denzel Boston. I think Denzel Boston makes a lot of sense as well. But why not go get the hometown or the I don't want to say his hometown, but the USC wide receiver, star wide receiver. Guy has, amazing route tree, can do a lot in the open space. He's going to break away from you with breakaway speed. Makai Lemon, wide receiver to the Rams. What do you think? What do you get? What's your analysis on why we went this way?
So we're over here again. We had so many times we argued, Jordan Tyson, and we went through so many different things for so many different people, and it came to these back end here. This just continues to reinforce what they have. You don't really know how many more years you're going to get out of Stafford. They got Puka Nacua. I don't know. They still have Devontae Adams long term. He's aging. We don't know what you're going to get out of that guy. This just gives Stafford some weapons and really allows them to really just go at it. I think Makai Lemon and Matt Stafford is going to be a pretty nasty connection.
This just makes too much sense. That you don't know, you said Stafford, but you don't know how many years you're going to have out of Devontae Adams, right? Puka's going through it. The man had to go insert himself into rehab. Like Malachi Lemon, even though I do think Jordan Tyson's the best receiver in this class. I think the injuries are hurting him, and there's just too many questions about his body between the ACL, MCL, PCL, the hamstring, and then there's questions about his knee. Malachi Lemon fills that explosive, yak demon that the West Coast offense loves so much. He stays in the state that he's from, and in all honesty, outside of our feelings on this, pretty much everybody who's even talked about the Rams have them taking Malachi Lemon. They are super high on him, and I get it. I don't know if I am that high on him, but I get it.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you 100%. I just think it makes 100%. It makes sense. He's the in-state guy. They already know everything they need to know about him. You know what I mean? It just makes sense. Number 14, and this one was not really a heartbreaker, but it was a tough one. Where this guy was going to go. This was part of the argument for the Dolphins pick, at 11, Vega, right? Vega Ione, I think is how you say it. Not really sure how to pronounce his last name. I apologize. To the Ravens. The Ravens, again, get a great one on the offensive line. It seems like every year it's either a defensive player or an offensive lineman that they're getting that's really good that we would want. I know we passed on him, but when you have a guy like Caleb Downs, it's hard not to pass on. Or I'm sorry, hard to pass on somebody of that level. You have Vega. Vega is another guy like that, so that's why it's really debatable. I think the premise with us is the Dolphins were just going to go defense, so that's why we went that pick. And then offense, it makes sense for what they want to do. They want to protect Lamar Jackson. They want to improve that running game, open it up even more for Derrick Henry. It just makes complete sense to me. The Ravens get a good guard.
This was crazy to me too, because I could see. We talk about what Baltimore was, Baltimore being this tough team, and it's possible that could have just walked out the door with John Harbaugh. So that's why I gave some pushback when we had these conversations. I could easily see him, John taking him there, but it didn't happen. He fell, and the Ravens do what they do. They grab the linemen that help build that draft. We'll see if that continues to be, what we've seen years past with Harbaugh not being there, but some of us do expect kind of more of the same potentially.
As much as I love the idea of the toughness, could walk out with Harbaugh because damn, it would just be a different Ravens. They were tough before he got here, before he got there. Ozzie Newsome will always have fingerprints on that roster. I do believe, though, there is a very real possibility Fanu doesn't go to the Giants and it's Vega going number 10. But we don't know, right? So here it just makes too much sense. I've been saying it since I watched the kid. This kid screams Baltimore. You think of a Baltimore player and then go watch this kid play football and it's like, damn, that's a Baltimore Raven. Mm-hmm. They do it again. They get one of the best prospects in the entire draft, and it's just disgusting.
Yeah, absolutely. Originally I had the Ravens taking wide receiver. I think that this is the year they finally take a wide receiver that they absolutely need. But it makes sense. They're new head coach. You want to new staff there. You don't want to take something too spicy. You go with the safe pick. Vega all around is a safe pick. He's going to be really damn good as a guard. So, and it is going to be disgusting. Peter Woods at 15 to the Buccaneers. This one, originally, I had them taking a linebacker. I thought maybe CJ Allen, possibly some of the other linebackers. Levante David just recently retired. That was my premise behind it. But they definitely need help along that defensive line. And why not get a guy that honestly has some, one of the fastest off the line, can be a disruptor. Peter Woods fits that bill. I think it's a good fit for the Buccaneers. What do you guys, what's your guys' analysis on why we went that way?
Got to continue to plug and play that defense. It's aging. Unfortunately, a lot of those guys are past their prime. Vita Vea, as dominant as he's been in his career, you don't necessarily know how many more years you're going to get out of him. Putting Peter Woods in there to learn from Vita Vea, then that position will be fine for years to come.
Absolutely. What are your thoughts, Steve?
So there's a lot of talk about linebacker for them. They went and shored up a little bit of that with Alec Anzalone. They got Christian Roseboom from, I believe, the Lions. They got Servassier Dennis still as depth, and I do think they'll take a linebacker in the second round. But despite getting Ashawn Robinson, him and Vita Vea are in their 30s. They don't have a young guy that they truly can trust. Like, Kalijah Cansey's always hurt. He's not really truly a nose tackle. And Vita Vea struggles when he's asked to play too many snaps just because he's just a massive human being. So he just can't do that many snaps. Though the leader of that defense now, right? They got Raheem Nunez Roches and some depth, but they truly need that defensive tackle of the future. I think this young man, Peter Woods, is a perfect fit for that defense. The ability to play 3 tech or nose, like it's gonna be. I think Tampa really gets a nice piece for that interior defensive line that their head coach loves so much.
Absolutely. I think he's definitely going to be that kind of guy. And, you know, their head coach is known for their defense, right? He's always had good defenses throughout wherever he's been in the league. So, you know, we'll definitely see. This is a strange one because I can't really make my mind up on the Jets absolutely at 16. I think originally I had CJ Allen possibly drop in here, linebacker, something to do with their defense, possibly, you know, addressing the defensive line. But going back and forth of it, I actually think that this Jets would do something Jets, and that's why we decided to go with Ty Simpson. Ty Simpson makes sense here. They need a quarterback for the future. I know they're interested in Ty Simpson. A lot of people are really high on him. And they brought in Geno Smith. Is Geno Smith the guy? No, not necessarily. Could he end up the guy? Maybe. Who knows? But at the same time, when you think about it, they have 2 first-round picks next year as well. But there's no guarantee that they're going to have one of the top picks to get one of those quarterbacks in 2027. Are you going to let a guy like Ty Simpson walk past you? I don't know, but I think it's something the Jets would do. They would go ahead and get Ty Simpson, and I think it's going to be here at 16. Otherwise, I don't think he. Well, he might be available in the second round, but I don't think so. I think he ends up being a first round pick. You know, he's a young kid, has talent. I don't know. What do you guys think about the Ty Simpson pick? I think they end up going Ty Simpson here.
So I said this was a hot take when we originally went over players we liked. 5 episodes ago? It just, I don't believe in Geno, and I honestly, despite what the head coach said, I don't think he believes in Geno either. I think it's just a smokescreen for them. This just makes too much sense. The second best quarterback in the draft, a kid who can read defenses. I have questions on consistency, but we'll see what happens, right? He's got a line in front of him going over there. They spent money all over this team. They got good tight ends for him with Mason Taylor and Jeremy Ruckert, right? They have a running back tandem between Bryce Hall and Braylon Allen. They have wide receivers with Adonai Mitchell and Garrett Wilson, and I think they'll still end up taking another one. The defense is pretty solid. They could probably use a young safety, but they got Minkah Fitzpatrick from us. This team is screaming for a quarterback that can elevate them beyond just 4 or 5 wins every single year. Ty Simpson makes way too much sense for them at 16. He's not in the top 10. He still get the 5th-year option for him. It just, I just don't understand why they wouldn't do it at this point. They need a quarterback.
Yeah, 100%. That's why we went with Ty Simpson. They definitely need a quarterback, and I think it's a Jets thing to do it now at 16. So number 17, I'm going to tell you right now, even if I don't have the player right, the Lions are taking offensive lineman. Monroe Freeling, best offensive tackle available. It makes complete sense. I know my personal friends that live in Detroit area are telling me that their team is really interested in him. And I think he's a great fit. And what they want to do, they really need to do something about that offensive line. So Monroe Freeling, 17, that was the pick.
It's a Dan Campbell thing. Dan Campbell loves his trenches, loves his physical people, loves people who have position flexibility. I mean, it just screams it. The only other guy that I kind of screamed here, which I got told might be a reach, was my guy Jennings Dunker. I think he also screams Dan Campbell, but we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, there was some deliberation on this for sure, 100%. Go ahead, Steve.
Again, this is my second favorite tackle in this class. Like they lost their left tackle. They're moving their right tackle to left tackle. And now you get a guy who's played both sides of the line. Monroe Freeling's played left tackle and right tackle. I don't know how else to explain it. I mean, maybe this turns into Caden Proctor because they think they can just slot him in at right tackle, and they do end up leaving Sewell at right tackle. You know what I mean? I just it makes too much sense for me.
Yeah, no, I agree. That's kind of what my premise was. 18 was interesting. The Vikings, led by Coach Flores, their defense is led by Coach Flores. Some people thought maybe wide receiver or a quarterback could go here. There's been a couple different players that they could go after. Safety is one of them that somebody thought they would definitely get, being the fact that Flores is kind of a fan of safeties in the secondary. But that defensive line is getting older. They're getting older. They need to add some names there. Lee Hunter, who I love, I think it makes complete sense here. I think he's going to be that kind of guy to bring that zero blitz defense that they're looking to do. Another position, like I mentioned, safety could be a possibility here, but I think ultimately defensive tackle is really going to be the option. Check out Dylan Thieneman as a name if they don't go Lee Hunter. That's the other guy that they could probably get here. Go ahead. What's your guys' analysis of why we went this route?
Oh, man. I think Lee Hunter has a chance. Okay, again, Daniil Hunter was there for years before he went to Houston.
Yep.
They've always had either that guy in the middle, they've had Jared Allen on the edge. It's either the defensive tackle, the edge rusher. Someone is usually who is that person on that line. And I think Lee Hunter is going to be that next addition for Minnesota to be that long-term defensive guy in the middle to really hold it down for them.
Absolutely.
So this for me, I still think I really pushed hard for Dylan Thieneman here. I do think that he screams Flores' defense with his ability to blitz. But they need defensive tackle help. They just do. They don't have that shirt up interior defensive line. And for me, when we were talking about this guy reminds me a lot of Christian Wilkins. And we know how much Flores loved Christian Wilkins on the defensive line. So I just think he fits that mold of what Flores would like from that aspect, from the ability to swim past and rush the passer to his ability to play the run defense.
Absolutely. Number 19, Caden Proctor is off the board to the Panthers. They need someone to protect their Bryce Young, young quarterback that they have. Some people thought maybe getting a weapon here maybe a wide receiver, a weapon for Bryce Young, possibly. I think ultimately they're going to go offensive lineman, and he is the best offensive tackle left after Monroe Freeling, in my opinion. Caden Proctor goes to the Panthers. I think it's a good pick for them. It solidifies more of their offensive line. In recent years, they overpaid, not really overpaid him, but the guard from us that we had, Hunt, I believe, right? Someone correct me if I'm wrong.
Hunt is the guard.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Hunt. Yeah, he they picked him up from us, signed him to over $100 million deal. So they're just going to continue on that route, improving the offensive line, protect their quarterback. And I think that's going to be the pick for them. Your guys' analysis.
I'm with you on that 100%. I mean, I think as things kind of get to the back end of the first round, I think it just kind of make a little bit more sense. I think it's an easier breakdown if you ask me. Proctor, yeah, some people say, he's going to be that guy, has the potential to be that guy, but to me, it's just if he can keep his mind preoccupied. Can you keep him busy? Can you keep him grinding? His problem is he gets bored and wants to go have fun and do these things, and if he's not having fun, he doesn't want to be where he's at. So as long as that's not an issue in Carolina and they can keep him out of trouble and this and that, then he should be just fine.
So this is another spot. Mystic put it brought it up about the Lions. I think Dunkers could also go here. They have a need at offensive line. They like Akeem Aquanu is had some hurt injury issues. Tyler Moton's old. Yes, they went and got Rasheed Walker. Damian Lewis is decent. Luke Fortner is just kind of okay, and then Robert Hunt, right? Robert Hunt is making all that money, so they need to get kind of young. I think they're paying both Moton and Rasheed Walker. I think this could be a situation where you see Moton leave next year and Caden Proctor slide right into that position. His athleticism, his ability of upside, like he has the ability to be a Austin Jackson with his athleticism. That's that's one of my comps for him. Just healthier. I think it just makes a lot of sense for a Carolina team that needs to find ways to help block Bryce Young.
Definitely. Dallas was an interesting pick. I know recently Dallas picked up Quinnen Williams, but we decided to still go with Keldrick Falk at edge. I think they like Keldrick Falk. I think ultimately they actually pick up an edge player in this draft. It's somebody that they've been rumored. That's a position that they've been looking to improve on. Bringing Quinnen Williams helps, but ultimately, I think that you need to get younger. You need to also bring in some more power in there. Keldrick Falk made a lot of sense for it. He's the best edge player on the board at this point. Dallas, that's the route they go.
Yeah, they need edge help. I mean, they went and got Rashawn Gary, and they have Donovan Ezeraku, right?
Yeah.
Quinnen Williams and defensive tackle with Kenny Clark. But, I mean, that's it. Rashawn Gary's, 32?
Yeah, they need to go younger.
Donovan Ezeraku's good, but that allows Kendrick Falk to come in, who I still think needs development, but has one of the highest upsides of any edge player in this class. It allows him to sit a year, learn, and get some impact plays in and maybe figure out the rest.
Yeah, absolutely. Any thoughts on that, Mystic?
No, honestly, this was one that we talked about real quick. I was kind of like, yeah, I get it. Their defense it hasn't been impactful. They need to continue to build it up, and this getting a corner at 12, getting an edge rusher at 20. This is what Dallas needs. Their offense is there, the quarterback's there, they have everything they need. They just need their defense to help them out.
Dunker's new name should be Joe Dirt.
Darte. Oh,
I was just about to say that's Joe Dirte to you.
I do agree with Level 2 Noob on this because we did argue that Sadiq could be a guy here for Carolina. We actually did talk about this a lot. I just know that offensive line is really important to them, and that's the feeling that we decided to go with. So,
well, also keep in mind they have Jatavian Sanders and they paid Tommy Tremble for a reason, and they have Mitchell Evans who they like a lot.
Yeah.
You know, this next one, can I just say this next one real quick? Because I feel like this next one was probably the easiest for all of us.
Yeah.
I literally think when I think about us talking about this whole draft, I feel like this is the one we spent the least amount of time on because it just made sense. Dylan Feynman, safety, going to the Steelers. He's every bit of what a Pittsburgh Steeler embodies. Like he totally makes sense and is going to fit that scheme so well.
Absolutely. I'll go next. Dylan Thiemann definitely makes sense. Safety. They definitely needed to replace someone since they've lost Mika Fitzpatrick with the trade. They really haven't had someone solidify that safety room for them. Ultimately, also in addition to it, another option you could argue is QB. If Ty Simpson doesn't become a Jet, does Ty Simpson become a Steeler? I don't know if that happens. I think ultimately they're going to go address the secondary. It'll be safety. It just made a lot of sense.
Yeah, I mean, Jalen Ramsey's on the back end of his career. He's playing a lot of nickel corner and a little bit of safety. Jabron Brisker's good. Deshaun Elliott's Deshaun Elliott. He's a decent safety who had a really good year 2 years ago. I like Sebastian Castro, who's a very young player, but I don't think he's of the level of Dylan Thieneman. And Darnell Savage has just kind of become a depth player floating around these teams who's a lot older than I thought he was.
Yeah.
So I think safety, a young safety, is very important for them. I think Deshaun Elliott's 29 now.
Also, Deshaun Elliott, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think in more recent years, he does get injured quite a bit too.
Yes, even when he was with us, he had multiple injuries. But he's also, like, he's a very good safety when he's healthy, but he's also, like I said, he's on the back end of his career. Jalen Ramsey's on the back end of his career. Darnell Savage is on the back end of his career. I think, I don't remember how old Brisker is, but you need a nice young player who's got a lot of talent and I think could become a day one starter for them over Deshaun Elliott.
Definitely 100%. All right. Everybody hit the like button. We got the last third of our draft board here that we're going to go over, and we might make it a little bit of a lightning round. I know it's getting late for some, but we'll try and make it quick for you guys. All right. Picks 22 to 32. This one made a lot of sense to me, but not at first. The Chargers go with Caden McDonald out of Ohio State, defensive tackle. You might argue that the Chargers definitely need offensive linemen. Their offensive line got decimated. Yeah, it got decimated this past season, but that doesn't mean they don't have good offensive linemen. They definitely have good offensive linemen there, but knowing who their head coach is, they want someone that's going to bring the pass rush, someone that's going to stop the run. You think about who's in that division now. They're going to have Mendoza that they have to go after. There's going to be Mahomes, and you got Bo Nix there as well. Those offensive lines are getting better. You need to be able to keep up with it. You now have to worry about the run. You got Kenneth Walker in that division. You also have what's his name? RJ Hawley, I think is how you say his name. The running back out of Denver. And you got Genty to worry about as well. You need to be able to stop the run and create havoc and go after the quarterback. It's going to be Caden McDonald. I think it's a smart fit. I think he's a good fit. Beast of a guy, sure tackler, really creates havoc, really causes teams to have to double, even sometimes triple team him. I'm going with Caden McDonald, and it makes sense to me. That was my analysis.
Noob, you're a troll. Gotta love it.
Oh, I gotta see this.
He said he had to unlike after we drafted Downs at 11, but maybe we can get it back at 30.
Okay, we'll see.
The Chargers just need defensive.
He might actually like the pick, to be honest. But go ahead.
The Chargers need defensive tackle. It makes sense. He's one of the better run-stopping defensive tackles in the league. He's got nice size, so he's going to eat up the center gaps, but he has enough athleticism. I think you could play him more than just nose. You can play him a 3-tech. Good hand placement, good footwork. You saw how well he played during the playoffs. This is a very good player for the Chargers.
It's the Harbaugh way, right? Build through the trenches. Continues to build through the trenches.
Trenches, baby. Absolutely. I agree with it. That's what you have to do. Trenches make sense. This is where me and Steve start to cry, but that's okay. We already addressed safety. It was in a scenario that we don't address safety. We go a different route. We would cry here. Emmanuel McNeil Warren out of Toledo. To me, in my opinion, he is one of the hardest hitting safeties in this draft. I've seen him level a guy, a tight end big of guy, like it's no problem. Guy is a really good tackler. In open coverage, I'm okay with him because he's going to make sure he brings the physicality. And I think he's one of the better physical prospects at safety, and he's really good in coverage too. I would take him as a Dolphin at 30 if he had fallen to us, but not in a scenario where we drafted already a safety like Caleb Downs. Eagles, I know they need a safety. They need secondary help. I want to say one or two of their guys retired or left this year. It makes sense. Emmanuel McNeil Warren, the best safety who's left on the board to the Eagles. It just made sense. What do you guys got? Steve, I know you have a lot to say.
Yeah, I'll let Steve go ahead and handle this one. I know this is your guys' one of the favorite safeties here. It makes sense to put him in the back end with you got Cooper DeJean at corner. You got some corners. You just need the safeties, right? So again, it just makes sense.
So the Eagles drafted Andrew Makuba last year, but they lost Reed Blankenship, who had become a part of their exciting whites, as they call them, with Cooper DeJean. And they went and I originally had them taking a corner, but they went and addressed that with the trade for Tariq Woolen. And obviously they have Quinyon Mitchell on the other side. They needed a safety. This kid is rangy. He brings the physicality that Fangio likes from his safeties. I think they're going to fall. They fell in love with this kid long before anybody knew who this kid's name was, to be honest with you. Mm-hmm. This kid out of Toledo has, again, he's not the fastest safety, but he brings the physicality. He brings the range. He brings the just the mentality you want for a Philadelphia Eagle. I know we had some conversations about, do they go offensive line? And as I've explained to them, like, my best friend's an Eagles fan. I've had this conversation with him over and over and over. Like, he just doesn't believe Lane is going anywhere in the next 2 years. And though it'd be nice to get a depth tight tackle to learn under, he doesn't believe how he's going to draft a backup tackle for the future in the first round when they need an impact safety now. Their other starting safety next to Andrew Makuba, who even then he played well, but he wasn't the greatest. He's going to need to take a step in the second year, is Marcus Epps, who's on the north side of 30 and he's okay, but he really should not be your starter there.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, for me, it just made complete sense. They need a safety bad. And think about this. Imagine having your star corner from Toledo and then having your star safety from Toledo. I just thought that was funny if that actually happens. But Yeah, I definitely think it makes sense where they're at right now. Another option for the Eagles though is wide receiver, but then again, they just brought in a wide receiver. So does this AJ Brown potential trade change things for them? We will see. We will definitely see. Number 24, the Browns finally get their wide receiver, and they're getting Jordan Tyson. I couldn't believe he dropped this far for us to originally when I was looking at our mock draft. I really thought there'd be more receivers more in the mid first round than there was originally. But looking at the question marks in this draft, the receivers, there's quite a few good receivers, and it's a deep wide receiver class. But there's question marks at the top. And that's kind of what led to this. Jordan Tyson, they're going to get him at 24. Browns have been looking for a receiver for a while. Like I said, they're rumored with Marvin Harrison, and there was another receiver I know they were looking at maybe possibly trading for. But I think they're going to take the best wide receiver they can get. Jordan Tyson is that guy, and that's where he ends up.
Man, we had Tyson all over the place. I think there's so many places that this kid could wind up. I really think he might be one of those.
Rams is another one that he could have gone to.
Yeah, I think he's one of those really the wild card, if you will, of this draft of where he falls in the first round, right?
Yeah.
Again, based on where people are falling, it made sense to get a weapon for Shador or Watson or Gabriel, whoever the quarterback's going to be, right? Makes sense to get him a weapon and continue to try to do something in Cleveland. I mean, if they try, I don't know.
Go ahead, Steve.
So this thing with Tyson, I even think the Dolphins could take him at 11, but I think the injury is a scare for people, despite what the league wants to say. There were 2 GMs, I believe, that showed up to his private practice. That was the GM for the Browns and the GM for the Dolphins. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's the 2 that showed up. I want to make a shout out to somebody whose brain I picked a lot when before we started trying to make this decision, and Coach Mo, a fellow Dolphins fan who happens to reside towards that half of the country, who really pushed the idea of wide receiver and offensive lineman being a very hot topic in the news up there. So I think that really added an extra layer on how we felt about them going receiver at 24. It just makes sense. You're adding probably who I consider the best wide receiver if he was healthy in the class to Jerry Jeudy and Isaiah Bond. Like, they got Harold Fannin, but like they still need more weapons for who I think will be Deshaun Watson, the starter. So we'll see what happens, but I do think this makes a lot of sense here.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Bears at 25 take Caleb Banks, defensive tackle. He's pretty much the best defensive tackle left on the board at this point out of Florida. I think the Bears are really looking to address that defensive line. They really want to bring pressure and solidify things on the defense. I think, personally for me, I think Caleb Banks makes a lot of sense. I mean, there's other positions I could have looked at. I could have looked at linebacker here as well. But I ultimately think this is a Bears move. They're going to go defensive tackle.
I think we're just like to the point of like we're like, man, do we really got? No, I'm just kidding. Yeah. Again, they had this is a team that was a playoff team, has a really good offense. Obviously, they had some shortcomings in the playoffs, whatever. But if you can continue to again throw trench play at a team that's already good, like again a huge bolster to that defensive lineman. Caleb Banks has a huge upside, right? So Makes perfect sense there, continuing to fill needs of a team that's ascending currently.
Absolutely.
This is another one of those cases where it's like they have some guys at the defensive line, but they're kind of old and they're starting to cycle out. Grady Jarrett's 32. Neville Gallimore, I think, is 30 now. And though you get a little more age out of these guys, like how much longer are they going to keep relying on the 30-year-olds on their interior defensive line? I could see them taking edge as well as defense as linebacker, but I think this ultimately comes down to one of the more intriguing prospects in this class. He reminds me a lot of Kenneth Grant out of Michigan last year. Now, he needed development. I think Banks does too. He can be inconsistent at his pass rush, but as a run stopper, I think he's what the Bears need to continue to be a defensive dominant team.
Absolutely. Next picks, the Bills have finally gotten something they've been seeking for a while. A guy that I think they thought their wide receiver from last year was going to be Denzel Boston, the best receiver on the board, in my opinion. I really like Denzel Boston. In fact, if he falls to 30, I would love the Dolphins to go after him. He's a big body kind of guy. Really can catch contested catches. He has good hands, red zone threat out of Washington. I really like this kid. It's sad to see him as a Bills though, but I think that's their weak link. They need receiver bad in Buffalo. Their offense is currently built off of running the ball and a bunch of tight ends. They need to really start, bringing in some real talent in the wide receiver room. They need people with speed, people that can go up and get the ball to help out Josh Allen. I think they bring him weapons. Denzel Boston to me is the pick.
I think just the sure hands of Denzel Boston is going to be every bit what Buffalo has needed. Unfortunately for us, we have to see him twice a year, and we're going to see him, and I think do some crazy stuff twice a year. But again, this is what they thought they were getting last year in Keon Coleman. I think Denzel Boston raises the level of play in the wide receiver room for Buffalo.
Definitely.
Yeah, I third that. I made this point when we were talking about this, right? Like, this is literally who they tried to get when they went and got Keon Coleman last year. Like,
yeah,
Denzel Boston is that same style, but I think he's a better route runner. I think he's a little faster, and I think he's got better hands.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's other players I like here as well on top of Denzel Boston. I mean, there's other receivers. There's Omar Cooper or Casey Conception. But I think ultimately they're looking for a guy that's sure hands, can get open in the field, contested catch kind of guy, and be that, deep threat that they need. I'm going with Denzel Boston. San Francisco 49ers. Where are you, Niners? I hope you're still watching. This is your pick. Look, there is question marks if how long Trent Williams is still going to be there, right? The offensive the left tackle for San Francisco.
Correct.
They have the left guard and right guard is Robert Jones, former Miami Dolphin, and Dominic Pooney is how you say his name. I'm sorry if I didn't say that correct. And then they have Colton McKivitz at right tackle. Do they trust Colton McKivitz? I don't know. But at this late in the draft, I think you're going to take the best offensive lineman available, which is Caleb Lumu, right? He definitely had first-round talent. Some people had him projected as high as maybe a top 15 pick at one point. But I think you're going to go get the best offensive tackle, and it's going to be someone that you could put behind Trent Williams to learn from him. So let's say Trent Williams is gone after next year or maybe the year after. You got the best guy that's going to replace him already in the building. Also, I think he has the ability to play right tackle as well. So he fits both bills for you. I think this is a smart pick by San Francisco. You already got your receivers too. They got Mike Evans already. They got Purcell already there as well. Your quarterback's already in the room. running back, I think you guys are 49ers are pretty good at as well. It
Man,
makes sense. Offensive line just makes sense here for me. Jennings Dunker could be a guy too. I get it. But I just think this makes complete sense. Go ahead,
So
Mystic. I
besides-
didn't mean to take your thunder.
besides the no, besides the offensive line, like the more I think about it, it would be just like, I mean, it would make sense, it wouldn't make sense, but I think it would still be nasty. Do you know what would be one of the nastiest things that the 49ers could do here is get Sadiq. Sadiq to play with George Kittle, to learn from George Kittle and be the successor to George Kittle would be disgusting. But I understand the Caleb Lemieux. You need it to, absolute need for the future. Makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, you guys have what? You have Jake. They have George Kittle, Jake Tongs. I don't know how to say his last name. I'm sorry, Tones.
I thought it was
How do you say his last name?
oh,
Yeah, I don't know. I'm sorry.
because they just signed him as I think you're right. I think it's like Jake Tongs or Tongs
Yeah.
or something.
They also have Luke Farrell in the building as well. Look, I get what you're saying with Sadiq. I actually thought about this. I just think they're more worried about that offensive line than they are the tight end room. If you really look at what they like to do offensively, the offensive line really has to be set for them to be able to accomplish it. That's the problem we had here in Miami. We run a similar scheme. That offensive line, when it goes down, you start seeing it falling apart, essentially.
True.
The left guard is Robert Hunt or Robert Jones. So
I said that as well. Guard is an option as well. That's why I said Dunker, maybe. So I just think it makes sense. What do you think, Steve? What's your thoughts?
So I think tight end actually does make a lot of sense, but I don't think they take him in the first round. I think they, and I know you're going to hate to hear this, I think they end up taking Sam Roush somewhere in the middle round and just steal an absolute demon at tight end. I know. Lemieux just makes too much sense. They might need tackle. They need guard. They have a guy that can fill both those roles on either side of the ball.
Yeah, I agree with 100%. Look, Texans, speaking of Jennings Dunker, don't worry, Mystic, he's here. They take Jennings Dunker at 28. Listen, they have the quarterback in the room. They have all the weapons too. If you look at the receiver room, having Nico Collins there, is Dalton Schultz and other receivers that they have, and they have a pretty good running back. And I know Color, if he's still in the chat, would say that he's the best running back in all the land based on his name alone. Look, for me, it just makes sense. They need help on that offensive line. You need to protect CJ Stroud. You know, when he's not protected, it doesn't work out. We saw that happen, year before last year. For me, it's offensive line. Offensive line, you go get the best guard you can find. Jennings Dunker is there. He's a Texan.
I'll take this one, Mystic. That way you can rave over your tackle for a minute. I also think, again, Sadiq makes a lot of sense for them for tight end. After Dalton Schultz, they just kind of have guys with Bevan Jordan and Cade Stover. You said it best. Like, Dunkers could be tackle, he could be guard. They need both, right? They went and got Orante Ursary a few years ago. They got Braden Smith. They went and spent on Wyatt Teller. They brought in Evan Brown, and they have Jake Andrews at center. I still don't trust Evan Brown. I still don't know what Braden Smith's going to be as a tackle. They got Trenton Brown, but he's always fucking hurt. Like, they need consistency at the offensive line, and I know Dunkers has a lot of questions, but his versatility and just that dog mentality he brings, I think, is a great thing for Houston.
So, no, I was really hoping that. I mean, I still am hoping. I really hope that he falls and I'd love for him to land in our lap here, at 30. I think it would be amazing. But I think we're talking about a guy who's going to be in my opinion, call me out on it you want. I think he'll turn into a perennial Pro Bowler, if not potentially an All Pro in this league at guard. Jennings Dunphy's going to come in from day one, take care of business, put his head down, and make an immediate impact on that offensive line.
Absolutely. That's all you got for it? I thought you'd go for an hour, man, talking about an Iowa.
No, I've been going for 2 hours already. Oh, wait.
All right, bud. All right, let's keep it moving. This is a big Miami fans. Kansas City is going to walk away with a good one. In fact, I would argue he's one of the better players at his position. Some people disagree with that, but Akeem Mesidor, right, is going to become a Kansas City Chief. They need edge. I think if you look at who they have, George, I think they have, what's his name? Karlaftis. Karlaftis.
Yeah, George Karlaftis.
And they also have Felix, I can never say his name, Felix Anduke Azumo, I think is how you say it. I think they need to add some more names to that edge group and get younger. Mesidor is a hell of a edge, in my opinion. Just to give you some background of him, but he basically possesses an extensive collection of pass rush moves, fires off the ball really good. He can see tackles and overset to the edge and punishes them accordingly. He definitely brings he benefits off of hands-on with his hands and like how he gets off the line and everything. Overall, I think he's the pick here. It just makes sense. They need edge, and I think that's the route they go. Another option you could have said before the offseason was maybe they need a running back. Pachenko went to the Lions, but they brought in Kenneth Walker. Wide receiver is an option here too for Kansas City. But ultimately, I think they have what they want in receiver. They want to address that defense. Defense, to be honest, makes sense to me.
Yeah, you give Akeem Mesidor to a defense that is all about blitzing from all sides of the field.
Yeah,
like Spags is going to send them from everywhere. They want to stop the run and send the blitz, and I think Akeem Mesidor is a really good run stopper who has some pass rush versatility and allows them to continue to do what they do.
This is another one I argued again, Sadiq for with an aging Travis Kelce, right? But again, it makes sense with Spagnuolo to continue to give him those weapons. You got Mahomes on the other side. You can make things happen with the speedsters they have. So you go ahead and give Spagnuolo another piece that he can use in his defense.
Definitely 100%. Pick 30. Pick 30. Miami Dolphins are on the board. Who are they going to pick? One thing we don't have is a wide receiver one. That's for sure on our board. We also have other needs such as corner and maybe tight end is a possibility. Some people think maybe linebacker is a need as well. For me, Omar Cooper just makes sense, right? Granted, he isn't the tallest receiver. He's taller than pretty much everybody we've had for the past 4 or 5 years. Having under 6 foot receivers such as Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. But if you look at who we have in the building right now, just to bring it up here, at wide receiver, we have Jalen Tolbert, Taj Washington, Tutu Atwell, Terrace Marshall Jr., and I want to say we have Malik Washington as well as Theo Wees and AJ Henning. The one thing that I see out of that group is that we don't have a wide receiver number one. So if you don't have a wide receiver one, you look at the board and you see who's available. Casey Conception is there, but I would argue Casey Conception is almost like some people might hate this and I might get slack from Steve. I think Casey Conception really is a cheaper a cheaper Devon Achane. He's a hybrid player that you can use on as a wide receiver in the slot, or you can use him as a rusher. I think he does everything well. He definitely does have a route tree, but Omar Cooper is a guy that I think that when it comes to red zone threat and his ability to catch the ball, I think you can use him in the slot. You could also bounce him on the outside. I think when you have a young QB, you want a guy like that knows how to get in the open space, has the speed in the open space as well. I could go either KC Conception or Omar Cooper. I think Omar Cooper ends up being the pick, though.
I think
Yeah,
Omar
again, this is
Cooper-
when we talked about, we ran it around and went through positions and what we could do in later rounds, all that,
Even
right?
talked Gideon Sadiq here too. I mean, that was somebody else.
That's what I was saying. We talked Sadiq. Like there's a whole lot of possibilities here. We just think ultimately it comes down to we need that number one wide receiver. I'd be okay if we decided that our superstar potential number one was going to be a tight end like Sadiq. I'd be okay with that. But I'm also okay with Omar Cooper and what he brings to the table and what he could be at the next level.
I mean, you also look at it, there's a rumor flying around that it's starting to gain a lot of traction that the Miami Dolphins are looking at drafting 2 wide receivers in the first 2 days of the draft, right? If that's the case, if we're looking to draft 2 wide receivers, this could be our first one off the board. It makes sense. If you have a guy like Omar Cooper or KC Conception, either one available here, I think you take one or the other. So
yeah, for me, I was good either way. Like we talked about this, I still don't think they would have taken the tight end, even though I understand everybody loves the tight end. I don't think they take Kenyon Sadiq. For me, Omar Cooper is a far better rangy catcher. I think he has a better catch radius. I think his ability to create yak after the catches and play tough through it means a lot. But for overall and why I want Omar Cooper, even though I see why people like KC Conception, Omar Cooper's con for me was Jarvis Landry, and that's all I needed to know. He plays with the same physicality. You're going to need more than 2 guys to tackle him on any level of consistency. He has the ability to take the top off of defenses, but he also has the ability to catch a 5-yard little dig and take it for 15.
yeah,
He did it a lot for Fernando Mendoza. And I think having a receiver who understands zone and understands how to make himself free in a scramble drill for a quarterback like Malik Willis, he just is perfect. Now, what do you pair him with? Do you think is he just a slot receiver? Can he play more boundary in the NFL? I don't know. I can't predict that. I think he can, and I'm not worried about it. But having him and maybe like a Chris Brazel or a somebody like that on the other side, it's just going to make him even more of a threat. And then now you have Tutu Atwell and my mind just went blank. The wide receiver we got from Dallas, Jordan Tolbert.
yeah.
And Malik Washington, and who knows what Theo Weiss is going to be. I think adding a guy like Omar Cooper just helps this room a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. Any other thoughts on this, Mystic, on this Dolphins pick?
I think going there, they did say something about they wanted to get big body guys. Would it make sense for them to try to grab a Malachi Fields in the 3rd, maybe 4th, and try to get that other second guy, right?
Maybe a guy like that, or even a guy like Jacoby Lane, right? The other USC wide receiver who had
I'm down. Sign me up.
Really good hands, man. Just saying. He has one of the best hands in my opinion.
Or even Ted Hurst, right?
Ted Hurst, yeah, that's another guy. Yeah. So, but I think based on the board and on everyone's draft board, the receivers that you've seen taken so far, they're the top receivers in this draft still. Like I said, the receiver room is kind of questionable here. And I think that's kind of why the receivers in the first round kind of shifted to the later half of the draft, primarily because of how deep this draft is when it comes to receivers. There's a lot of people I think you can get in those later rounds. KC Conception for the Patriots. This is prior to them making an AJ Brown trade. I will say that. But I think it makes sense, right? The wide receiver room, they want weapons for Drake May. Diggs, I want to say, is gone. He's no longer a Patriot. They have some receivers there. They definitely invested in the running back room last season. For me, KC Conception has a full route tree. You want a guy that can catch the ball underneath, be a deep threat, put him in the backfield, be that Swiss Army knife for you. I think he's going to end up being a Patriot. I think that's kind of the route that they take. Another option, you could look at Kenyon Sadiq for the Patriots. My issue with Kenyon Sadiq is not so much his talent. I think it's more of the fact that if you look historically in the last few years, his type of athlete tight end really hasn't performed to the level that we thought he would. Like, you look at Kyle Pitts, Kenyon Sadiq gives me Kyle Pitts vibes, just to be fair about it. Super athletic, freak athlete style. And you look at historically, you look at guys like Travis Kelce, you look at the tight end that we had this past year with Miami. Why I can't think of his name right now.
Darren Waller.
Yeah, Darren Waller. These guys were not picked in the first round, right? They're picked in the later half, 5th round. I think Darren Waller, want to say is a 6th or a 7th round pick, to be honest. I don't quote me on that, but I think he was down there.
Yeah, because he was a wide receiver that they turned to a tight end.
Yeah. And he, I think this could be a spot for Sadiq, but we'll see. I think wide receiver is more of a need for them than tight end, to be honest.
I like KC a lot. I've said that from the beginning, even when he, declared coming out and just watching him and his process. And I think the kid's a sleeper, in my opinion. I hate to see him go to the Patriots, if I'm being honest. I'd love to see him go anywhere else but our division. The kid's, he's going to be that blue collar mentality. He's going to come in, put his head down, work, and try to become a great wide receiver. And that's what you don't want to see at New England.
Steve?
Yeah, KC makes just too much sense. He's the best receiver left. The Patriots need it. I don't care about the AJ Brown trade. They need 2 receivers. They need 7 receivers.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. Like, they need, even though they made it to the Super Bowl with what they had, it was noticeable in the Super Bowl. He had nobody to throw to. The run game wasn't working. He needed help. Like, I honestly do like Kenyon Sadiq here kind of too, because they have Hunter Henry, and then what? Nothing. So I could see them going tight end. Vrabel loves his run game. Don't look past Mike Washington.
Yep.
Or
they do have Trevion Henderson already that they drafted.
They do. But he loves his run game. So I wouldn't put Mike Washington off the board, and I wouldn't put Jadarian Price off the board. So just because I know how Vrabel likes him. But I do think receiver makes a lot of sense for them, and KC Conception being one of the best ones left, and the style that he plays would pair a lot. He would basically be the Devontae Smith for AJ Brown for the Patriots.
Yep. All right. Last but not least, the Mr. Irrelevant of the first round, if you want to say, Colton Hood, Seattle Seahawks, out of Tennessee. For me, I think he's the best corner available. I think I argued that they may need running back. Since Kenneth Walker had left, I said maybe Mike Washington here. That made sense. But they have Chardonnay at running back, and I think they also signed someone else on top of it. But I think corner is a position of need. You know, you're gonna the first pick, the last pick of the first round. You're gonna look at the talent. I think he's the next best guy that's on the board. You're talking about a guy that has 4.4 speed, so his recovery speed will be really good. You know, really, you look at his production over the last year. His production, he's had 14 pass breakups, 2 forced fumbles, just 29 games with a knack for showing up at the catch point when it matters the most. Competitive burn on contested catches situation, versatility in coverage, closing burst downhill. Yeah, I think he's the best corner available. I want to say that was one of their needs as well. It just makes sense.
Yeah, for me, they need corner, man. Like, we mulled this over. We went over a couple different positions they could go, but for me, they need corner. They lost Woolen to the Eagles. They're gonna have to pay the other side. I think, though, I do think running back, even though they love Charbonnet, I do think running back will be addressed a little later. I don't think they reach for one. It could happen, but I think going corner is kind of a big need for them, and especially a guy with Colton Hood's style where he could cover the ones and really free up. I can't remember his name at the second. The other corner on the other side, the blitz, like they love to do.
Mm-hmm. Mystic.
You know, the more I think about this, even after our conversations, I think corner in general makes sense because of what I said earlier. This is a defensive-minded head coach that just won the Super Bowl with having, 6 DBs on the field majority of the time. They got rid of one of those, get that back. If it's Colton Hood, I could see, isn't it Chris Johnson Jr.? Is that what it is out of San Diego State? Didn't he have like a really fast 40 time and all these other things? I think a fast physical corner, things of that such, absolutely makes sense here. Any way you can spin it for Seattle, they want to add that to that defense.
Yeah, absolutely. And there you have it, gentlemen. That's our 2026 NFL mock draft. Some quick notes, and I want to say this would probably be our bottom line moment. So, bottom line moment for this, for me, is the fact that Kenyon Sadiq doesn't get drafted in the first round. It is it was very weird how it turned out. And every time I thought we would have solidify on Kenyon Sadiq for somewhere, he doesn't fit perfectly anywhere. You know what I mean? It's not like a position absolutely needed. And, you know, does it have an impact? Yeah, it could have an impact in several areas. I don't know. What were some thoughts that you guys had about this draft?
And that was one of my thoughts for sure. I'd say what intrigues me is kind of how some of these teams that have similar needs seem to be so close to each other. I think that's something that I kind of in the upper echelon, maybe the top 15. You see some teams that are like, "Hey, I need this, and it's really similar, and it's going to be who gets the guy they see best fit for their scenario, right?" I think someone's going to definitely rob some other teams. Obviously, we didn't do trades. I think the trades are going to shake it up. I think we will get some trades for sure coming in the draft as well.
Yeah, definitely. We definitely didn't do trades, so that could change things altogether. And maybe Kenyon Sadiq does fall somewhere. But looking at the team's needs, and there wasn't one where the team absolutely needed a tight end. You know what I mean? And that's kind of where
100%.
it was hard for me to find a spot for him. You know, you argued possibly Texans taking Kenyon City. I'd argue they have Dalton Schultz, and you look at what they're trying to do. They look at running the ball a lot, as well as passing deep threats. Maybe Texans could be maybe one of those teams to also look at. But their biggest problems over most recent years is offensive line. That's been their biggest issue. So that's why we didn't go that route. I don't know. What's your bottom line, Steve?
I think it's very interesting how late some of these top 10 prospects went. The fact that Caleb Downs somehow fell to 11, how Jordan Tyson falls all the way down to, what was it, 24?
The Browns.
Right? Like, some of these guys like Caleb Lemieux were talked about as top 15 prospects going into the combine. The fact that the Eagles keep stealing my favorite players, like, it's just it's a running thing for me, man.
Yeah. Doing drafting for your team, like doing a mock draft for your team is easy because you know what the needs are, right? You know what type of players you're looking for and everything. It's so easy. But drafting for every team is hard. I want to say this is one of the hardest things I had to do and sit here and go through all 32 picks and trying to decipher what we think each team is going to do. So that's something I learned in this process. But I will say that one thing that it does surprise me is not just Jordan Tyson, not just like how far the wide receivers fell, but I want to say, like, if you're looking at it, actually let me go to like the second round here, or the second image. It kind of what Mystic said in regards to how similar some of the needs are, right? There was a lot of people that need offensive line help in this first round. There's a lot of people that need, I would say, defensive line or edge as well. Edge is a position we might look at as for the Dolphins as well. Zion Young at 30, that's a possibility, right? I just don't, it's going to be really interesting where everybody goes. One thing I will say, though, this top 10, I want to say, is the most for sure thing that you might see in this draft. If it happens this route, I think this top 10 is pretty solid compared to everything else that might go down.
Yeah. Again, like, we didn't do trades because trades are impossible to know what compensation is. And there's been a lot of talk about teams wanting trade compensation for next year. Somebody mentioned in the chat earlier they would trade up a few slots from 30 to go get Denzel Boston in front of the Bills, or even Jordan Tyson.
Yeah, I could see that.
I would absolutely do that in a heartbeat. Like, there's going to be movement, and that's been the main thing. I'm not even completely sold that the Jets don't send some of them first round picks next year to move up and get Fernando Mendoza from the Raiders. They have the assets to make the trade. Like, I don't think it would be crazy for the Browns to trade out of 6 and move back and somebody come up to get an all-star tackle, i.e., the Giants, and just kill everything.
Yeah, absolutely. I think this is going to be a wild draft, to be honest. I think there are going to be a lot of trades. Like you said, it's impossible to predict, so, you don't know. Mystic, any final thoughts?
I appreciate everyone taking the time to be with us, to share their thoughts and be with us again on one of these longer shows. We don't always do these, but when we do, they have these draft moments, these extended episodes. We do appreciate everyone staying around for the viewership and really helping the show out. So thanks, everyone. Have a wonderful rest of your week.
Definitely. 52 people watching on all fronts. We appreciate you guys. Make sure you hit the like button. Subscribe if you're brand new. We're on the road to 100. it's draft week, right? Most exciting week if you're an NFL fan or even a college football fan, right? We love to see our players and see what teams and, making dreams come true. I love seeing that on draft week. This Thursday, Friday, and Saturday will be live here at 4th and 10U as well as on the TFTG network. I hope everyone there. We will be dropping the link as well. We might even have a giveaway or two that I'm going to be giving away to some special subscriber. In addition, Mystic, Steve, we'll see you guys there. And till next time, everyone have a wonderful night. Peace out.